Chapter 2764. A group of people gathered in a luxurious courtyard in the inner area. Surprisingly, Huang Wen was among this group of people. That Lu Ming is advancing at a terrifying speed. It's only been a few decades and he's already an inner disciple. A young man said in shock. He's a monster. When he grows up, he'll be a threat to the saint's position. We must get rid of him. Huang Wen gritted his teeth. Huang Wen, I heard that you and Lu Ming have a grudge. Because of this, Lu Ming killed many people from the Floating Light faction when he was in the outer area. Is that right? Someone looked at Huang Wen. These people were all from the Fuko Seiko faction and were experts in the inner area. That's right. Huang Wen nodded. Since there's a grudge, we must get rid of him as soon as possible. Send someone to keep a close eye on Lu Ming's movements. As soon as he leaves the Kongshan school, send someone to get rid of him. A young man looked at Huang Wen. Okay. Huang Wen nodded. A cold, murderous intent flashed in his eyes, but there was a trace of fear in the depths of his eyes. Lu Ming's growth was too shocking and it made him fearful. In another luxurious courtyard in the inner area, a group of people gathered together as if they were waiting for someone. Among them was the deacon of the outer area, Yu Zhong. These people were all from the Tenho Seiko faction. The saint is here. Suddenly someone shouted. As soon as the voice fell, a few figures floated down from the sky. The leader was a handsome young man in luxurious clothes. He exuded a noble aura from head to toe. This person was the leader of the Tianhong faction, the Tianhong Saint. He was one of the 5 great saints of the Kongshan school. The Kongshan school had a total of 5 saints and 2 saintesses. He could be said to be one of the strongest among the disciples and had the potential to take over the position of the Kongshan school's sect master. In the Kongshan school, one could not become a holy son or holy daughter just because one could control a holy son or holy daughter. Controlling the holy divine power was only the most basic requirement. It also depended on one's cultivation, combat strength, and so on. Only when one met these requirements could one become a holy son or holy daughter. In order to become a holy son or holy daughter, one's cultivation had to at least reach the heavenly god realm. Greetings, Saint. Lu Zhong and the others immediately bowed respectfully. No need for formalities. I just came out of seclusion. Why are you looking for me? The Tianhong Saint said. Holy Son, it's because of an outer sect disciple. No, he's already an inner sect disciple now. A young man replied. A person who just became an inner court disciple? The Tianhong Saint looked puzzled. Did a person who had just become an inner sect disciple need to report to him? Holy Son, this person is a monster. His talent is shockingly strong. He has only joined the sect for a few decades, but he has already become an inner disciple. Moreover, his combat strength is shockingly strong. Lu Zhong stepped forward and described Lu Ming's performance during this period. After hearing this, the Tianhong Saint frowned. This person is arrogant. Our Tianhong faction invited him to join us from the beginning, but he ignored us. I think he's very ambitious and wants to form his own faction in the future to compete for the position of sect master. Many people from our Tianhong faction died in his hands, including Ying Tsang. Lu Zhong continued. Ying Tsang is dead. The Tianhong Saint's eyes flashed, and a cold, murderous intent exuded from his body. Ying Tsang was ranked 4th on the virtual god list. He was very talented and could become a powerful subordinate when he grew up. However, he had died in the hands of Lu Ming. He wants to form his own faction? Kongshan School has 7 factions. That's enough. Also, since we've already formed a feud, we have to get rid of him as soon as possible. The Tianhong Saint's indifferent voice sounded. Don't worry, Holy Son. I'll send someone to keep an eye on this kid. Once I have the chance, I'll personally take action and get rid of him. Lu Zhong said coldly. Good. With you around, I'm relieved. The Tianhong Saint said. Then, the group began to discuss other matters. Lu Ming knew nothing about these. He and Autumn Moon were in seclusion in the Divine Vein Tower. The Divine Vein Tower was very useful to Autumn Moon. In less than half a year, Autumn Moon's aura had reached its peak and she began to break through to the virtual god realm. A few days later, Autumn Moon successfully broke through to LV1 virtual god realm. After Qiuyu broke through, Lu Ming felt more at ease. He let Qiuyu cultivate alone in the Divine Vein Pagoda. He left the Divine Vein Pagoda and headed to the Divine Skill Valley to cultivate his divine skill. Spring passed and autumn came. In the blink of an eye, 20 years had passed. For the past 20 years, Lu Ming had no other distractions and focused on cultivation. His 3 divine skills had all made great progress. The 9 Heavens Kunping technique had reached the 4th level. The apocalyptic 3 strikes had reached the 4th level. The 9 layers of crimson gold armor had reached the 4th level. All of them had reached the 4th level. This was very shocking. The higher the level, the harder it was to cultivate the divine skills. Of course, the power would also be stronger. Many peak true god experts had only cultivated to the 4th level of their divine skills. Only some terrifying geniuses could possibly cultivate to the 5th level of a peak true god. Lu Ming had just broken through to the true god realm not long ago, but he had already reached the 4th level. Furthermore, he had 3 types of divine skills. If others were to find out about this, they would be shocked. At the same time, Lu Ming had also smelted 8 cold moonstones into the ice chain. The ice chain was officially completed and its power was shocking. In these 20 years, Lu Ming's cultivation did not improve. He was still at LV1 True God Realm. However, he had completely stabilized and was slowly approaching LV2 True God Realm. It was more difficult to improve in the True God Realm and it would take a longer time. Moreover, Lu Ming had 5 divine fires. It would be harder for him to improve. It was normal for him to not have a breakthrough in 20 years. However, compared to 20 years ago, Lu Ming's combat strength had increased by more than 1 level. It's a pity that the battle character formula has reached a bottleneck. Lu Ming furrowed his brows. He had almost reached 100% success rate in increasing his combat strength by 3 times. However, he still could not reach 4 times his combat strength. He had reached a bottleneck and tried all kinds of methods, but it was still difficult to improve. Lu Ming, the reason why you can't improve is because your divine body is not strong enough. At this moment, a deep voice sounded in Lu Ming's mind. It was the battle character formula's voice. The battle character formula had always been silent and rarely spoke. However, it spoke at this moment. My divine body is not strong enough? Lu Ming was stunned for a moment before realization dawned on him. The more combat strength the battle character formula could increase, the higher the requirement for the divine body. If the divine body was not strong enough, the battle character formula could not be used. That's right. It's just that your divine body is not strong enough. If you want to cultivate the battle character formula to increase your combat strength by 4 times, you must increase the strength of your divine body. Otherwise, you will never be able to increase your combat strength by 4 times. In the future, when your cultivation becomes stronger, you won't even be able to increase your combat strength by 3 times or 2 times. The battle character formula said. Divine body, how do I improve my divine body? Lu Ming furrowed his brows. When he came to the primitive universe, he realized that the creatures in the primitive universe focused on the cultivation of divine power. As divine power grew stronger, it would also subtly temper the divine body. Therefore, the higher one's divine body was, the stronger one's divine body would become. However, there were no divine techniques that specialized in improving the divine body. Chapter 2765. Looks like I have to flip through the books to see if there are any methods to increase the strength of my divine body. Lu Ming pondered. At this moment, a powerful aura was emitted from not far away. Lu Ming looked over. There was a round ball floating in the air, shining brightly. It was Qiuqiu. Looks like Qiuqiu is about to advance to the true god realm. Lu Ming smiled. Qiuqiu had consumed a large number of fragments of divine weapons over the years, and its level was constantly increasing. It was about to advance to the true god realm. Soon Qiuqiu officially broke through. Its aura was strong and it reached the level 1 true god realm. It then flew to Lu Ming and turned into a bracelet hanging on Lu Ming's wrist. Lu Ming smiled and left. He went to look for books to see if there were any methods to increase the strength of his divine body. In the next few days, Lu Ming immersed himself in reading books. Finally, he found a method. Ancient God Flower. Lu Ming muttered. According to the books, there was a divine flower called the Ancient God Flower. It was extremely mysterious. After consuming it, one's divine body would continue to evolve and become stronger. However, the Ancient God Flower could only be found in one place in the entire Qingtian star field, and that was the Ancient God Planet. According to the books, the Ancient God Planet was occupied by a race in the distant past. This race was known as the descendants of the Ancient Gods. They had the bloodline of the Ancient Gods, and their divine bodies were stronger than other races. Only this race knew how to plant the Ancient God Flower. This race was not considered a big race in the Qingtian star field. It was just a small race. However, it had disappeared a long time ago. Of course, the Ancient God Flower had also disappeared. After flipping through so many books, this is the most reliable method. Let's try my luck. Lu Ming sighed and decided to try his luck at the Ancient God Planet. He could not give up on the battle word manual. This was the origin source ancient word and it was priceless. If he gave up on the battle word manual, it would affect his combat strength greatly. Then, Lu Ming set off for the teleportation formation to the ancient god planet. Lu Ming is going out. As soon as Lu Ming went to the teleportation array platform, he was targeted. The two young men followed him from afar and arrived at the teleportation platform. Looks like I'm not the only one who wants to kill this brat. Hehe. Another person was following behind the two young men. It was none other than Li Zhong. Lu Ming knew nothing about this. He walked into the teleportation array and teleported away. Excuse me, where did that person teleport to? The two youths arrived at the teleportation array and asked a burly man guarding the teleportation array. I'm sorry, I can't tell you where he's going. The burly man said. There were rules for them to guard the teleportation array, and that was to keep it a secret. Let me tell you something. We were sent by Fuko Seiko. Now Fuko Seiko wants to know where that brat went. Do you want to offend Fuko Seiko? A young man said coldly. The burly man's face paled. He couldn't afford to offend a saint child. If he did, he wouldn't even know how he died. He's gone. The burly man trembled as he told them about Lu Ming's whereabouts. The two young men sneered, stepped into the teleportation array, and chased after Lu Ming. After the two young men left, Li Zhong came forward. He showed his identity as the Great Hong Saint. The burly man didn't dare to offend him and told him about Lu Ming's whereabouts. Li Zhong also stepped into the teleportation array and chased after him. Kongshan School couldn't go directly to the ancient god planet. He could only teleport to a nearby planet and fly there on an interstellar battleship. After more than a month of traveling, Lu Ming finally arrived above the ancient god planet. The ancient god planet was huge and slowly rotated in the starry sky. Lu Ming sat on the interstellar battleship and flew around the ancient god planet, observing it carefully. Legend had it that the descendants of the ancient god lived on a sacred mountain called the Ancient God Mountain. However, for some reason, the Ancient God Mountain suddenly disappeared from the Ancient God Planet and never appeared again. Lu Ming wanted to find the Ancient God Mountain because only the Ancient God Mountain had the Ancient God Flower. However, he took the interstellar battleship and circled the Ancient God Planet several times, but he didn't find the Ancient God Mountain. With no other choice, Lu Ming could only choose a random place and land. After entering the atmosphere, Lu Ming put away the interstellar battleship and flew towards a big city below. Not long after Lu Ming landed, two interstellar battleships flew over and landed. They were the two young experts from the Floating Light sect and Li Zhong. Lu Ming landed in the big city. The big city was bustling with many races. People came and went and it was very lively. A long time ago, the ancient god planet was under the control of the descendants of the ancient god. However, after the descendants of the ancient god planet disappeared, the ancient god planet fell into chaos. Countless forces were born and they fought with each other until now. Have you heard? Another family was annihilated. I heard about it too. It's so tragic. The whole family was killed, not even a chicken or a dog was left. This is the fifth family to be annihilated in this area in the past 3 months. I wonder who did it? Why did they annihilate these families? These families are just small families. To be able to do this, it must be one of those big forces. Not long after Lu Ming entered the city, he heard people talking about him. Let me tell you. I heard a piece of news. It is said that all of this is because of the ancient god map. Suddenly, someone said in a low voice, Ancient god map? Others were puzzled. It's the ancient god map. Through this map, you can find the ancient god mountain where the descendants of the ancient god are. That person said again. What? You can find the ancient god mountain where the descendants of the ancient god are? Many people were shocked. Legend has it that the descendants of the ancient god have been annihilated for some reason. However, in the ancient god mountain, there are many treasures left behind by the descendants of the ancient god. It is said that whoever can find the ancient god mountain and obtain the treasures inside will be able to unify the ancient god planet and become the overlord of the ancient god planet. That's right. The ancient god map. Is it true? Many people were shocked and excited. It is most likely true. It is said that it appeared in the nearby area and was controlled by a family. That's why the families were annihilated one after another. That person said again. His words caused an uproar and the news spread further and further. The ancient god map can lead to the ancient god mountain? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. It was better to come at the right time than to come early. Lu Ming did not expect to hear news about the ancient god mountain the moment he arrived. Since there are families that have been annihilated one after another, there should be another family that will be annihilated. I'll go to one of these families and wait. Maybe I can find some clues. Lu Ming thought for a while and then asked around. There were a total of 9 big families in this area. Previously, 5 families had been annihilated and there were still 4 families left. Let's go to the Fu family. Lu Ming randomly chose a family. After figuring out the route, he headed towards that family. However, after Lu Ming flew for a distance, 2 young men appeared in front of him and blocked his way. Chapter 2766. Who are you guys? Lu Ming frowned as he could feel chilling killing intent from the 2 youths. The ones who are going to kill you. A young man with 2 bull horns on his head said coldly. Swish. Then his figure flashed and appeared behind Lu Ming, blocking Lu Ming's path of retreat. You guys are the disciples of Kongshan School? Lu Ming's eyes turned cold as he asked. Hee, you're smart. I'll let you die in peace. That's right, we're the inner disciples of Kongshan School and we belong to Fuko Seiko's faction. Do you understand? The bullhorned youth said coldly. Fuko Seiko's faction. So it's you guys. Lu Ming sneered as a chilling killing intent spread out from his body. There were only 2 factions that wanted to kill him in Kongshan School. One was the Floating Light faction and the other was the Great Sky faction. Kid, you want to kill us? You're just a level 1 true god and you want to kill us? What a joke. The bullhorned youth sneered and took a step forward. A violent aura soared into the sky. Level 7 true god. The bullhorned youth was a level 7 true god and the divine power that he controlled was king grade. His combat power was enough to fight against an ordinary level 8 true god. At the same time, the other youth also released a terrifying aura. He was also a level 7 true god. 2 7th level true god Heaven's Chosen coming to kill a 1st level true god person. No matter how Heaven's Chosen this person was, that was something that was in the bag. The gap was too big. No wonder they found it ridiculous when Lu Ming wanted to kill them. Kid, I'll send you on your way. Remember, the one who's going to kill you is Nyo Fun. The bullhorned youth took a step forward and threw a punch at Lu Ming. What? Cow dung? Lu Ming almost laughed out loud when he heard the name. It was a good name. However, Lu Ming didn't have time to think as the opponent's fist force had already pressed down on him. A long spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand and he stabbed out. In the process of stabbing out, Lu Ming had already unleashed 3 times his combat strength. Boom. The long spear and the fist collided, causing a violent explosion, and energy overflowed in all directions. Then, the bullhorned young man took a dozen steps back, while Lu Ming only swayed a little. How is that possible? Your combat power. The bullhorned young man widened his eyes in shock. Lu Ming had actually gained the upper hand in a head-on collision. How was this possible? How could a 1st level true god possibly have such powerful combat strength? The other youth also had a relaxed expression, but at this moment he was no longer relaxed. His face was filled with seriousness. Clearly Lu Ming's attack had frightened them. Kill. The bullhorned youth roared as a battle axe appeared in his hand. The battle axe carried a terrifying aura as it slashed towards Lu Ming. The bullhorned young man had already used his divine skill. Void piercing. Lu Ming also used his divine skill. Dang. This time, the bullhorned young man's body shook violently as he retreated again. Even after using his divine skill, he was still at a disadvantage. Ah damn it, quick, let's attack together, let's attack together. The bullhorned young man roared. There was no need for him to shout. The other young man had already made his move. With a flash of his figure, he pounced on Lu Ming at an extremely fast speed. A dazzling sword gleam burst forth and charged toward Lu Ming. Third destructive blow, void piercing. Lu Ming brandished his spear once again. This time, 2 spear radiances burst out and charged towards his opponent. Dang. Dang. Both sides continued to exchange blows. 3 figures flashed in the air at an astonishing speed. In the blink of an eye, they had exchanged dozens of blows. To be honest, both of them were very powerful. They were 7th level true gods and had mastered king grade divine force. Even one of their divine skills had reached the 4th level. With the 2 of them working together, even Lu Ming would not be able to take them down easily. After exchanging dozens of blows, although Lu Ming had gained the upper hand, he could not completely suppress them. This person is too powerful. Let's retreat first and report this news to the Holy Sun so that he can send more experts to kill this kid. That's right. The bullhorned young man and the other youth communicated secretly. Both of their eyes were filled with deep fear. A 1st level true god was actually able to suppress both of them. This kind of monstrous talent was simply unheard of. Even the Holy Suns were far from Lu Ming in a battle of the same level. Although the Holy Sons were strong, there was a limit. However, Lu Ming was simply abnormal. Let's go. The two of them took advantage of the time and quickly retreated, wanting to escape. Wanna leave? Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. Shackles? Then, with a thought, Lu Ming released 8 shackles from his body. That's right, there were 8 shackles. Lu Ming did not use his full strength. That most terrifying shackle, Lu Ming did not use it. However, these 8 ice shackles had been refined with the cold moonstone, so their power was equally shocking. The moment the ice shackles appeared, they were like 8 long snakes that danced in the air, entangling the two youth. Break. The two youth attacked frantically, wanting to break the ice shackles. However, when their attacks landed on the ice shackles were unharmed. On the contrary, the ice shackles emitted a terrifying chill that flowed through the divine artifact and entered the two youths' bodies. The two of them shuddered, and a layer of frost appeared on their bodies, wanting to seal them in ice. The two youths screamed desperately, using their full strength, but it was to no avail. They could not break the ice shackles at all. The ice shackles contracted, becoming tighter and tighter. In the end, they were tightly bound, unable to move. Kill? Lu Ming said coldly. His long spear pierced out, killing the two youth. With a wave of his hand, he kept the two youth's storage rings. Fuko Seiko. The cold light in Lu Ming's eyes became more intense. These two factions had repeatedly tried to kill him. In his heart, they were already sentenced to death. Sooner or later, he would destroy these two factions. Now that I'm using my full strength, I'm roughly equivalent to an 8th level True God Realm genius. After this battle, Lu Ming had a rough estimate of his own strength. If he used all his means, he estimated that he was comparable to an 8th level True God Realm expert with King Grade Divine Power. If he only had ordinary Divine Power, Lu Ming could even fight a 9th level True God Realm expert. Fighting a 9th level True God Realm expert as a 1st level True God, it would scare people to death. In a flash, Lu Ming left the place. Not long after Lu Ming left, Le Zhong's figure appeared. At this moment, Le Zhong's eyes were filled with horror. In fact, he had seen the battle just now. The battle strength that Lu Ming displayed had deeply shocked him. Too terrifying. This kid's battle strength is too terrifying. Le Zhong muttered. Thinking back to the battle just now, the horror in his eyes grew. A 1st level True God could actually kill 2 7th level True God Realm geniuses. If he did not see it with his own eyes, he would not believe it. Chapter 2767. I don't know if this brat used his full strength just now. It's not wise for me to face him head-on. Le Zhong muttered to himself. He was truly frightened. His cultivation was already at the peak of the 9th level of the True God Realm, and his divine power was at the King Grade. His combat strength was much stronger than the bullhorned youth, but he did not dare to make a move just now. He was not sure of Lu Ming's combat strength, and he was afraid that Lu Ming had not used his full strength just now. If Lu Ming had not used his full strength just now, he was not confident that he would be able to defeat him. I should hide in the dark and wait for an opportunity to strike. It seems like Lu Ming came to the Ancient God Planet to look for the Ancient God's Mountain. If the Ancient God's Mountain appears, I will be able to obtain a fortuitous encounter. Le Zhong pondered and made a decision. He decided to hide in the dark and wait for an opportunity to strike. Lu Ming continued to head toward the Fu family. The Fu family was located in the middle of a mountain range. Even from afar, one could see the luxurious palaces built on top of the mountain peaks. Just as Lu Ming was about to fly forward, figures flashed from all directions. At the same time, sharp attacks flew toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming furrowed his brows and cast the 9-layered crimson gold armor. A crimson gold armor enveloped him. Those attacks were all blocked by the reddish gold armor. Shwa, shwa. In a flash, a group of people surrounded Lu Ming, revealing fierce expressions. All of them stared at Lu Ming cautiously and fearfully. Who the hell are you? Why do you want to destroy my Fu family? A burly man roared. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. When did I say that I want to destroy you? Seeing that Lu Ming did not speak, another old man shouted, Don't waste time with him. If he wants to kill us, then we will kill him. Let's attack together and kill him. Kill. This group of people roared. There were at least a few hundred of them, and they attacked Lu Ming together. Among this group of people, the one with the highest cultivation was a level 4 True God. There were even many Void God Realm experts. Although there were many of them, they posed no threat to Lu Ming. However, Lu Ming did not have the habit of standing there and not fighting back. A long spear appeared in his hand. The long spear swept out, and a huge spear light crushed towards the crowd. Bang, bang, bang. This group of people, regardless of whether it was 4th level True God or Void God realm, they were all like one sandbag after another, being whipped flying by Lu Ming, falling all over the ground. How can he be so strong? Someone roared, his voice filled with despair as he glared at Lu Ming with venomous hatred. Hey, I have no enmity with you. It's fine if you attack me for no reason, but why are you looking at me as if you have a deep grudge against me? What do you mean? Lu Ming was speechless. No enmity? Are you not here to destroy my Fu family? An old man cried out. Destroy your Fu family? Lu Ming rubbed his nose and said, if I wanted to destroy your Fu family, would you still be alive? Everyone on the other side was stunned, and then they looked at each other. Indeed, with Lu Ming's strength, it would be easy for him to kill them. Just now he had sent all of them flying with a single spear strike, but none of them were killed. If he wanted to destroy them, why would he do so? Then you are? The old man looked at Lu Ming uneasily and his voice stuttered. He was afraid that he had angered Lu Ming and killed them. I heard that 5 families have been destroyed in the vicinity. I was curious and wanted to take a look at your Fu family. I didn't expect you to treat me as an enemy. Lu Ming smiled and did not mind. The other party was facing the danger of being destroyed at any time, so it was normal for them to be frightened. Young hero, I'm sorry. We were rash just now. The 4th level True God old man kept apologizing. It's fine. Lu Ming waved his hand and his face suddenly changed. He looked in a direction and said, it seems that the people who want to destroy you are here. What? The Fu family old man's face changed and he quickly looked in that direction. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. In that direction, black shadows were flashing towards them. Their speed was shockingly fast. In a few breaths, these black figures arrived and surrounded the Fu family and Lu Ming. There were more than 200 of them. These people were all wearing black robes, and they gave off a mysterious and dangerous feeling. Who are you? What do you want? The Fu family old man asked in shock. Hand over the map of the ancient gods' mountain, and we can spare your lives. One of the black-robed men said with a hoarse voice. What map of the ancient gods' mountain? Our Fu family doesn't have a map of the ancient gods' mountain. The Fu family old man roared. No. You won't cry until you see the coffin. Then let's destroy the Fu family. We'll find it ourselves. Kill. The leading black-robed man waved his hand, and the 200 black-robed men moved. Their figures flickered, and they charged towards the Fu family at an extremely fast speed. They're all experts. Lu Ming glanced at them and realized that these black-robed men were all experts. Most of them were True God Realm experts, and the strongest of them had reached the 5th level True God Realm. Their strength was far above the Fu family. Defend, defend. The Fu family old man roared, and the Fu family members formed a defensive formation. Although the Fu family had more people, their strength was far inferior to the other party. Lu Ming did not attack immediately. He wanted to let the Fu family suffer a little before he attacked. However, someone forced him to attack even though he did not want to. Kill. A 3rd level True God Realm black-robed man charged towards Lu Ming, and a cold blade light slashed towards Lu Ming, wanting to split Lu Ming in half. I wanted to let you live for a while longer, but you're really courting death. Lu Ming said coldly and stabbed out with his spear, killing the black-robed man. When the other black-robed men saw this scene, they were so frightened that their faces changed drastically. Kill. Lu Ming attacked. His figure flashed and his long spear vibrated and spear light shot out. The strongest of these black-robed men was only at the 5th level True God Realm, and the divine force they controlled was only ordinary. They couldn't withstand a single blow from Lu Ming. Buff, buff. Every spear light took the life of a black-robed man. Over 100 spear lights shot out, and over 100 black-robed men were killed. Their corpses littered the ground. The scene suddenly quieted down. Whether it was the black-robed men or the Fu family members, they were all shocked. Run. After a few seconds, the black-robed men reacted and fled in all directions. They understood that they had encountered a terrifying expert, and if they stayed, they would all die. You want to leave? Stay. Lu Ming roared, and 8 ice chains flew out, rapidly lengthening. The sky was filled with ice chains, and they wrapped around the black-robed men. How could these black-clothed men avoid the attack of the ice shackles? They were all bound and frozen stiff by the terrifying coldness of the ice shackles. Chapter 2768. More than 100 men in black were all bound by Lu Ming's ice shackles. They were frozen stiff by the cold air. Didn't you want to know who they are? I'll leave them to you now. Lu Ming looked at the Fu family members. The Fu family members seemed to have woken up from a dream. The level 4 True God Realm Elder walked over and stared at one of the black-clothed men. Speak. Who are you? Don't even think about getting anything out of me. The black-clothed man said coldly. You're hiding in a black robe because you're afraid of being recognized. Let me see who you are. The Fu family elder waved his hand and tore off the black-clothed man's black robe, revealing the face of a middle-aged man. The Fu family elder was stunned when he saw the man's face. He was shocked and shouted, "It's you, Protector 19? You're Territorial Lord Yufeng's men?" The Fu family elder's voice trembled as if he was shocked. Territorial Lord Yufeng. It's Territorial Lord Yufeng. We're finished? We're finished? The rest of the Fu family members were also pale. They were terrified. Territorial Lord Yufeng? Lu Ming was puzzled. Young hero, it's like this. After many years of war, the ancient god planet has been divided into many territories. Each territory has a territorial master. Territorial Master Yufeng is the overlord of this territory. The Fu family elder explained. Lu Ming was enlightened. I didn't expect Territorial Lord Yufeng to send his men. I didn't expect. The Fu family elder sighed. The Fu family was just a force under Territorial Lord Yufeng. How could they go against Territorial Lord Yufeng? Now that Territorial Lord Yufeng had his eyes on them, the Fu family was doomed. Humph. Since you know we're Territorial Lord Yufeng's men, let us go. The 19 Protector said coldly. Since they had been recognized, there was no need to hide anymore. That's right. Let us go. The other black-clothed men also shouted. The Fu family elder and the rest of the Fu family members were hesitant. Just now, so many of their people died. Also, that so-called Domain Lord Yufeng has his eyes on your Fu family. Do you think that if you let these people go, he will let the Fu family go? Lu Ming said calmly. Brat you, the 19 Protectors and the other black-clothed men were shocked. That's right. Kill. Kill all of them and weaken Domain Lord Yufeng's strength. The old man from the Fu family gritted his teeth and revealed a ruthless expression. You dare? The 19 Protectors were furious. Clang. With a flash of saber light, the Fu family's old man made his move and split the 19 Protectors into two halves. Kill them all. The old man from the Fu family roared. Kill. The people of the Fu clan all attacked the black-clothed men. Those black-robed men were all entangled by Lu Ming's ice shackles, unable to resist at all. One by one they were killed. Soon more than 100 black-robed men were all dead. Lu Ming waved his hand and put away the ice shackles. Young hero, may I invite you to the Fu family as a guest? The old man from the Fu family stammered. Next, the Fu family would definitely face Domain Lord Yufeng's revenge. With the Fu family strength, they would definitely not be able to withstand it. However, the strength that Lu Ming had just displayed was extremely shocking. To have such combat strength at such a young age, he was definitely not from the ancient god planet. He was most likely a genius from the Qingtian star zone. He wanted to ask for Lu Ming's help. Perhaps he could help the Fu family overcome this crisis. What's the cultivation of Domain Lord Yufeng? Lu Ming asked. I heard that he's a level 8 true god. The old man from the Fu family said. When he mentioned level 8 true god, his face turned solemn. And level 8 true god was not someone the Fu family could deal with. The strongest person in the Fu family was only a level 5 true god. Level 8 true god? Alright, I'll go with you. Lu Ming smiled. Lu Ming did not take the level 8 true god seriously. Even if it was a level 8 true god with king-grade divine power, Lu Ming would not be afraid. Unless he encountered a top-notch genius who had mastered a terrifying secret skill or whose divine power was sacred grade, Lu Ming would not be a match for him. Thank you, young hero. Hearing Lu Ming's agreement, the old man from the Fu family was overjoyed. The rest of the Fu family were also overjoyed. After everyone cleaned up the battlefield, Lu Ming followed the Fu family to the Fu family. When they arrived at the Fu family, a group of people came to welcome them. Grand Elder, what's the situation? There seems to be a huge battle over there. A middle-aged man in luxurious clothes came over and asked the old man from the Fu family. The old man from the Fu family was the Grand Elder of the Fu family. Patriarch, there was indeed a huge battle. The other party is Domain Lord Yufeng's men. The Grand Elder of the Fu family said. What? Domain Lord Yufeng? The Fu family's patriarch's face turned pale. It was all thanks to young hero Lu Ming that we were able to survive. The Grand Elder of the Fu family immediately explained what had happened. After hearing the explanation, The Fu family's patriarch thanked Lu Ming profusely and treated Lu Ming as a distinguished guest. After that, Lu Ming stayed in the Fu family's residence. As for the Fu family, they were on high alert, waiting for the arrival of a powerful enemy. 3 days later, in the wee hours of the morning. Enemy attack! Enemy attack! A sharp voice broke the silence of the wee hours. A large number of people flew out of the Fu family's palaces and set up defensive formations, waiting for the incoming attack. They are finally here, Lu Ming muttered. His body moved and he flew out of his room and hovered in the air. He saw that the Fu family's residence was surrounded by a large group of people. A terrifying pressure surged toward the Fu family like a tidal wave. Domain Lord Yufeng, it's really Domain Lord Yufeng, many members of the Fu family mumbled to themselves. Their faces were pale as they stared at an elder. This elder was wearing a golden robe and exuded a majestic aura. This person was Domain Lord Yufeng. Bow, bow. Domain Lord Yufeng stepped forward, causing the sky to rumble. His divine power boiled, and his powerful aura formed a terrifying pressure that enveloped the sky above the Fu family. Many members of the Fu family trembled. They almost couldn't withstand the pressure. Domain Lord Yufeng, may I know how my Fu clan offended you for you to come here with such a large force? The Fu family's patriarch stepped forward and cupped his fists respectfully. Why are you asking the obvious? Hand over the map of the ancient God's mountain and I can spare your life. Domain Lord Yufeng said coldly. Domain Lord, the Fu family doesn't have a map of the ancient God's mountain. If we did, we would have handed it over long ago. The Fu family's patriarch said. He meant what he said. If he had a map of the ancient God's mountain, he would have handed it over immediately in exchange for the Fu family's safety. Humph, you don't need to quibble. The map of the ancient God's mountain was made with soul gold. The soul gold has a special property which is that it can sense each other. Even if you are far away, it can sense each other. I happen to have a small piece of soul gold with me. Through the soul gold, I can sense that there is soul gold in this area. Soul gold is extremely rare, and there isn't much of it on the ancient God's planet. There is a high possibility that it is the map of the ancient God's mountain. Domain Lord Yufeng said. Chapter 2769. After Territorial Lord Yufeng finished speaking, a purplish gold metal the size of a fingernail appeared in his palm. The metal was shining brightly as if it was resonating with something. Everyone finally understood why there were so many families being annihilated in this area. It was because Territorial Lord Yufeng had used the soul gold to sense that there was another piece of soul gold in this area. It was very likely to be the map of the ancient God's mountain. However, he wasn't sure of the exact location, so he went to search for it one by one. However, he was afraid of being criticized, so he ordered his subordinates to wear black robes and masks. But my Fu family doesn't have any soul gold. The Fu family head said with a helpless expression. Father, could it be related to the antiques I bought last time? At this moment, a young man came to the Fu family head's side and whispered. Antiques. The Fu family head was stunned. Yes, I bought a batch of antiques last time and wanted to see if they had any value. One of the scrolls had a similar color to this soul gold. The young man said. Oh. Territorial Lord Yufeng's eyes lit up when he heard the young man's words. What? There's such a thing? Quick, take it out. The Fu family head hurriedly said. Yes. The young man nodded and took out a storage ring. The storage ring glowed and a pile of antiques appeared in the air. They didn't seem to have any spirituality, but they looked ancient and showed signs of age. One of the scrolls had a similar color to the soul gold, but it was much dimmer. When these antiques were taken out, the soul gold in Territorial Lord Yufeng's hand shone brightly. Then the ancient scroll shone brightly and resonated with the soul gold. Ha ha ha, the map of the ancient God's mountain. It's really the map of the ancient God's mountain. Give it to me. Territorial Lord Yufeng laughed. The Fu family head hurriedly grabbed the map of the ancient God's mountain and said, Territorial Lord Yufeng, I'll give this map to you. You have to promise to let my Fu family go. Alright, I promise you. Give it to me now. Territorial Lord Yufeng said hurriedly. The Fu family head pondered for a moment and waved his hand. The map of the ancient God's mountain flew to Territorial Lord Yufeng and landed in his hand. After grabbing it in his hand, he hurriedly opened it to take a look, and his expression became even happier. Aha, I finally got it. Now, seeing that you have handed over the map of the ancient God's mountain, I will give the Fu clan a quick death. Domain Lord Yufeng said coldly. What? Didn't you say that you would let the Fu family off? You don't keep your word. The head of the Fu family roared. Trust? The last time I sent over 200 people, all of them died in your Fu clan's hands. If I don't destroy your Fu clan, how can I face my subordinates? Domain Lord Yufeng said coldly. His eyes were extremely cold. From the start, he had never intended to let the Fu family off. Hehe Yufeng, you're still as despicable as before. At this moment, a cold laugh came from the sky. It was filled with mockery. Who? Domain Lord Yufeng's expression changed as he looked at the sky. Yufeng, you can't even recognize my voice? That voice sounded again. Whoosh, whoosh. Then several figures appeared in that direction. The leader was a skinny middle-aged man. Xiangshan, it's you. Domain Lord Yufeng's expression changed. Xiangshan Domain Lord, it's Xiangshan Domain Lord. Someone from the Fu family exclaimed. Looks like it's another Domain Lord. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Domain Lord Yufeng ruled this area, while Domain Lord Xiangshan should be the overlord of the other area. Of course it's me. Yufeng, do you think you can keep the map of the ancient gods mountain for yourself? Hand it over. Domain Lord Xiangshan said coldly. Humph, you think you can take the map of the ancient gods mountain from me by yourself? Dream on. Domain Lord Yufeng grabbed the map of the ancient gods mountain and waved his hand. He was about to put it into his storage ring. At this moment, a beam of light shot toward Domain Lord Yufeng's palm at an extremely fast speed. This attack came from behind Domain Lord Yufeng. It was from one of his subordinates. Domain Lord Yufeng did not expect his subordinate to attack him. He wanted to dodge, but it was too late. His palm was hit and exploded. The map of the ancient gods mountain flew out. Great Guardian, you're courting death. Domain Lord Yufeng roared. He circulated his divine power and quickly repaired his shattered palm. The person who attacked him earlier was the #1 expert under him, a 7th level true god existence. He was the head protector under him. The Great Guardian quickly retreated to prevent Domain Lord Yufeng from attacking. Haha, let me tell you. Your Great Guardian has secretly sided with me. Domain Lord Xiangshan laughed. He moved and pounced toward the map of the ancient gods mountain. You want to take my map of the ancient gods mountain? Don't even think about it. Domain Lord Yufeng roared and pounced toward the map of the ancient gods mountain. At the same time, he attacked Domain Lord Xiangshan violently. Domain Lord Xiangshan was fearless. He also launched an attack. The two of them collided and energy waves spread. Fortunately, the map of the ancient gods mountain was made of soul point gold. It was extremely hard and was unharmed by the energy waves. Domain Lord Xiangshan was also a level 8 true god. His combat strength was no weaker than Domain Lord Yufeng. The two of them continued to exchange blows, but no one could gain the upper hand. For a while, neither of them obtained the map of the ancient gods mountain. However, at this moment, a figure appeared in the sky and pounced toward the map of the ancient gods mountain at an extremely fast speed. He grabbed the map of the ancient gods mountain. It was a member of the Wings clan. He had a pair of green wings on his back. When he flapped them, his speed was shocking. Domain Lord Yuhan, it's you. Domain Lord Yufeng and Domain Lord Xiangshan shouted at the same time. They ignored the fight and attacked the member of the Wings clan at the same time. Another Domain Lord had arrived. It was Domain Lord Yuhan. Domain Lord Yuhan was about to get the map of the ancient gods mountain. However, Domain Lord Yufeng and Domain Lord Xiangshan attacked at the same time. He had to give up the map of the ancient gods mountain and defend with all his might. Boom, boom. Domain Lord Yuhan was pushed back. Domain Lord Yufeng and Domain Lord Xiangshan pounced toward the map of the ancient gods mountain and engaged in a fierce battle. Domain Lord Yuhan's face darkened. He pounced forward as well. The three Domain Lords started to fight. Everyone wanted to get the map of the ancient gods mountain. However, no one could get it. The Fu family members were dumbfounded. They did not expect to attract three Domain Lords at once. The map of the ancient gods mountain was flying around in the energy waves. The map of the ancient gods mountain? Lu Ming muttered. He was tempted. Didn't he come here to look for the ancient gods mountain? Hence, he wanted the map of the ancient gods mountain. Lu Ming stepped forward and approached the battlefield. Chapter 2770. Coincidentally, when Lu Ming stepped out, the map of the ancient gods mountain was agitated by the force and flew toward Lu Ming at lightning speed. Even Lu Ming was taken aback. He stretched out his hand and caught the map of the ancient gods mountain. Kid, give me the map of the ancient gods mountain. Hand it over. Territorial Lord Yufeng, Xiangshan Territorial Lord, and Yuhan Territorial Lord roared and pounced on Lu Ming. Lu Ming moved a few hundred miles away to avoid the attack. I want this map of the ancient gods' mountain. Lu Ming spoke and kept the map of the ancient gods' mountain. Everyone was stunned and looked at Lu Ming as if he was an idiot. He wanted the map of the ancient gods' mountain? Did he think that the 3 territorial lords were just decorations? Was he courting death? Even the 3 territorial lords were stunned for a moment before they emitted cold killing intent. Kid, I've never seen anyone as stupid as you. Since you're courting death, I'll grant you your wish. Domain Lord Yufeng shouted coldly. His figure was like a bolt of lightning as he charged toward Lu Ming. He's mine. Don't even think about taking him from me. Territorial Lord Xiangshan and Territorial Lord Yuhan pounced on Lu Ming. They wanted to kill Lu Ming and take Lu Ming's storage ring. Do you really think I'm a pushover? Lu Ming sneered and a long spear appeared in his hand. At the same time, Lu Ming activated the battle character secret art to triple his combat strength. Sky-piercing. Lu Ming shouted and circulated the divine force in his body. He executed the first move of the 3 strokes of annihilation, sky-piercing. 3 spear radiances with terrifying power shot towards Territorial Lord Yufeng, Territorial Lord Xiangshan, and Territorial Lord Yuhan. Boom, boom, boom. 3 consecutive explosions. Territorial Lord Yufeng and the other 2 territorial lords were shocked. Their bodies trembled and they could not help but retreat. Lu Ming's body swayed and he took a few steps back. What? At the scene, everyone was dumbfounded. Lu Ming had actually blocked the attacks of the 3 region lords, and had even forced them back. How could Lu Ming have such powerful battle prowess? Previously, some people thought that Lu Ming was stupid, but now they realized that they were the stupid ones. Amazing, so amazing, the Fu family patriarch and the others were also shocked. Damn it, this brat. Domain Lord Yufeng and the other 2 couldn't hide the shock in their eyes. This brat is difficult to deal with. Why don't the 3 of us join forces and cripple this brat first? It won't be too late to snatch the map of the ancient gods' mountain later. Domain Lord Yufeng sent a voice transmission to the other 2 domain lords. Alright. I agree. The Xiangshan Territorial Lord and Yuhan Territorial Lord nodded in agreement. From the exchange of blows just now, they knew that they were no match for Lu Ming alone. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Domain Lord Yufeng and the other 2 moved. They formed a triangle and charged towards Lu Ming. Come on. Lu Ming said in a low voice. His long spear vibrated and swept out. Domain Lord Yufeng and the other 2 domain lords only had ordinary divine power. Although they were level 8 true gods, Lu Ming was not afraid at all. Boom. The thick spear radiance was like a mountain and blasted towards the 3 domain lords. The 3 domain lords also used their trump cards and the 2 sides engaged in an intense battle. Boom, boom, boom. Explosions continued to occur in the sky. In the blink of an eye, the 2 sides had exchanged over 100 blows. This is great. Let's try out my new move. Third strike of extinction, moon slashing. Lu Ming's eyes shone brightly. The divine power in his body surged and surged into the long spear. At the same time, Lu Ming used the ice chains. A few chains swept towards the Xiangshan Territorial Lord and Yuhan Territorial Lord. As for Lu Ming himself, he used the second move of the third strike of extinction, moon slashing. When the third strike of extinction was cultivated to the 4th level, he could already use the second move, moon slashing. The power of this move was much stronger than the space piercing. Of course, the consumption of divine power was also much more shocking. However, Lu Ming had the quantifying character formula and did not care about the consumption of divine power. Swoosh. A spear radiance like a crescent moon attacked Domain Lord Yufeng. Domain Lord Yufeng's pupils contracted rapidly. He could feel the terrifying power of Lu Ming's move. He roared and used all his strength to block the move. Boom. Boom. 2 strange sounds were heard. Then Lu Ming's figure rushed past. Domain Lord Yufeng's body stiffened in the air and his face was filled with horror. Then, his body was torn apart and his soul was destroyed. At the sight of this, the Xiangshan Domain Lord and the Yuhan Domain Lord felt a chill run down their spines from the soles of their feet to the top of their heads. They were almost scared to death. They retreated frantically, distancing themselves from Lu Ming. The Territorial Lord is dead. The Territorial Lord is dead. Domain Lord Yufeng's subordinates immediately panicked and frantically retreated to distance themselves from Lu Ming. Did I say you can leave? Stop right there. Lu Ming looked at Domain Lord Xiangshan and Domain Lord Yuhan. Domain Lord Xiangshan and Domain Lord Yuhan were shocked and did not dare to stay. They immediately turned and ran. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He executed the Garuda technique and rushed towards the 2 like a Garuda. He overtook them in a few moves and stood in front of them. I asked you to stop. Didn't you hear me? Lu Ming said coldly. Young hero, I don't want the ancient gods mountain map anymore. Take it. Take it. Domain Lord Xiangshan hurriedly said as he broke out in cold sweat. If Lu Ming could kill Domain Lord Yufeng with one strike, he could also kill him with one strike. It would be strange if he was not afraid. Yes. I don't want it either. Young hero, take it. Domain Lord Yuhan hurriedly said. The ancient gods mountain map will be mine. You two don't leave. I might need your help. Lu Ming said coldly. Domain Lord Xiangshan and Domain Lord Yuhan did not dare to move. Then Lu Ming took out the ancient gods mountain map and looked at it. There were many routes on the map that led to a mysterious place, the ancient gods mountain. I need you to follow me and find the ancient gods mountain through the map. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming was unfamiliar with the ancient gods planet. Even if he had the map, it would be troublesome to find it. It would be better to rely on Domain Lord Xiangshan and the others to find the ancient gods mountain faster. Lu Ming did not mind bringing Domain Lord Xiangshan and the others with him. He just wanted to get some ancient god flowers. He did not care about Domain Lord Xiangshan and the others. Domain Lord Xiangshan and Domain Lord Yuhan's eyes lit up. They did not expect such a good thing to happen. If Lu Ming wanted them to find the ancient gods mountain, wouldn't that mean they could go in too? Their eyes lit up when they thought of this. Don't worry. We'll find it as soon as possible. Domain Lord Xiangshan and Domain Lord Yuhan nodded. Let's go. Lu Ming said and left with Domain Lord Xiangshan and the others. They did not stay in the Fu family. With Domain Lord Yufeng's death, the Fu family's crisis was resolved. Luck. Our Fu family is really lucky this time. Yes, we met young hero Lu Ming. God bless our Fu family. Young hero Lu Ming is our Fu family's savior. We must make a statue of him and worship him every day. Looking at the direction where Lu Ming left, the Fu family members were grateful. Chapter 2771. Lu Ming did not care about what the Fu family was thinking. In the following days, Xiangshan Domain Lord and Yuhan Domain Lord sent out a large number of people to search for the ancient gods mountain according to the map. After half a month of research, they finally determined the exact location. Lu Ming, Xiangshan Domain Lord and Yuhan Domain Lord brought some experts and rushed towards the destination. They did not notice that there was a figure following them from afar. That person was Li Zhong. According to the map, the ancient gods mountain was located at the extreme north of the ancient god planet, on a deserted island in the extreme North Sea. When they arrived at the deserted island, they were stunned. Because this deserted island was desolate, there was no ancient gods mountain. Most importantly, there were already many people gathered here, standing around the deserted island, searching for something. Domain Lord Guanhao, Domain Lord Qianqing, why are you here? Xiangshan Domain Lord exclaimed with his eyes wide open. Because he saw many Domain Lords here and he recognized some of them. Xiangshan, you're here too. Looks like you've also obtained a map of the ancient gods mountain. A burly man chuckled. He was Domain Lord Qianqing. What do you mean? You've also obtained a map of the ancient gods mountain? Xiangshan Domain Lord asked. That's right. A scroll appeared in Domain Lord Qianqing's hand. It was exactly the same as the one Lu Ming had. This, Xiangshan Domain Lord, Yuhan Domain Lord and the others were dumbfounded. Aha, are you surprised? I thought there was only one map of the ancient gods mountain just like you guys. Only when I came here did I know that there are many maps of the ancient gods mountain. Look, more than half of the Domain Lords are here. I'm afraid there will be more later. Domain Lord Qianqing laughed. Lu Ming, Xiangshan Domain Lord and the others were speechless. After so long, there were many maps of the ancient gods mountain. Did you guys find the ancient gods mountain? Xiangshan Domain Lord asked again. This was what they were most concerned about. No, this place is just a deserted island. Even birds don't shit here, there's nothing here. Domain Lord Qianqing said. Lu Ming's face darkened slightly. Nothing here? Wouldn't that be a wasted trip? However, how could they give up just like that? Immediately, they began to search the island carefully to see if they could find any clues. Sure enough, as time passed, more and more people came from all over the island. They were all area lords who had obtained the map of the ancient gods mountain and had rushed over. Strange, it seems that all these maps appeared at the same time. Otherwise, how could so many people coincidentally gather at the same time? Lu Ming frowned as he pondered. All of this gave him the feeling that it was being manipulated by someone. He wasn't the only one who had doubts. The others had doubts as well. However, the temptation of the ancient gods mountain was too great. No one left. Lu Zhong had already blended into the crowd on the deserted island. There were at least tens of thousands of people on the island, so no one would notice him. As the days passed, more and more people arrived at the island. According to Domain Master Xiangshan, most of the domain masters in the entire ancient god planet had come, and they had brought a large number of experts with them. That's impossible. This map of the ancient god's mountain is made of soulless gold. Soulless gold is rare and precious to begin with. Who would spend so much money to play such a prank? Someone said. That was true. No one would spend so much money to play a prank on them because it was meaningless. The only explanation was that it was time for the ancient god's mountain to appear. That was why the map of the ancient god's mountain would appear all over the ancient god planet in such a short period of time. There are so many maps of the ancient god's mountain. Maybe it's meaningful. Why don't we take out everyone's map and see if there's anything strange? Someone suggested. All right, I agree. I agree too. Many people nodded. Then, those who had the map of the ancient god's mountain took it out one after another. Lu Ming also took out his map. There were at least a few hundred maps of the ancient god's mountain. As soon as the maps were taken out, they resonated with each other and shone brightly. Buzz, buzz. Then, these maps actually flew out and flew in the direction of the deserted island, stopping at a certain spot. The hundreds of maps formed a strange trajectory and spun rapidly in the air. Suddenly, numerous runes appeared in the void, covering the sky like a spider web. There's a reaction. Many people were overjoyed. If there was a reaction, it meant that the maps were real. More and more runes appeared in the void. In the end, the void started to spin and formed a dark vortex. Then the vortex slowly became clear. Through the vortex they could see the scenery behind the vortex. It was a sacred mountain. It was huge and towered into the sky. The ancient god's mountain. Many people were overjoyed. They had finally found the ancient god's mountain. A long time ago, it was the place where the descendants of the ancient gods lived. Legend had it that there were countless treasures inside. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. There was an ancient god flower in the ancient god's mountain. As long as he could obtain the ancient god flower, his divine body would be enhanced. He would be able to cultivate the battle character formula to quadruple his combat strength. Let's go. Someone could not wait any longer and rushed into the vortex. In a flash, he rushed into the vortex and appeared on the other side of the vortex. It's okay. Quick, go. Go. Seeing that the people in front of them were fine, most of them could not wait any longer and rushed into the vortex. They were afraid that the treasures would be taken away if they were slower than the others. The Xiangshan Territorial Lord and Yuhan Territorial Lord did not care about Lu Ming and rushed into the vortex as well. Lu Ming also blended in with the crowd and rushed into the ancient god's mountain. I did not expect to encounter the legendary ancient god's mountain on this trip to kill Lu Ming. This Lu Ming is really my lucky star. Lu Zhong sneered and rushed into the vortex. As soon as Lu Ming rushed into the vortex, he appeared on top of a huge rock. Lu Ming looked ahead and realized that they had come to the middle of a huge valley. The valley was huge. It was at least 1,000 miles wide and there were cliffs on both sides that reached into the clouds. More than 10,000 of them had entered the valley. Swoosh, swoosh. Many of them had already rushed into the depths of the valley. Lu Ming looked around and rushed into the depths of the valley. Boom. Suddenly, there was a violent explosion in front of them. A group of people were fighting fiercely. The ancient god flower is mine. Get lost. You're the one who should get lost. Angry roars were heard and Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. The ancient god flower has appeared? Lu Ming dashed over quickly. True enough, he saw a dark red fresh flower growing in the crevice of a rock. The fresh flower was plump and glistening, emitting a strong energy wave. The ancient god flower. It was really the ancient god flower. It was exactly the same as what was recorded in the ancient records. Chapter 2772. Dozens of experts were fighting fiercely near the ancient god flower. With a scream, a level 6 true god expert was killed. Blood flowed all over the ground. In the great battle, there were several region lord level characters. 6th level true god existences were naturally not enough to look at. The others looked around and did not fight for it. An ancient god flower was not worth it. More people rushed into the depths of the valley. Since there were ancient god flowers here, there might be more in the depths of the valley. Lu Ming watched for a while and did not make a move. The use of an ancient god flower was limited. There was no need to fight and expose his strength in advance. With a move, Lu Ming also went into the depths of the valley. Sure enough, ancient god flowers appeared one after another in the depths of the valley. Every time an ancient god flower appeared, it would lead to a fierce battle. Although the Eldritch universe mainly cultivated divine power, the strength of the divine body was also very important. Some secret techniques would have requirements for the strength of the divine body. Moreover, the stronger the divine body, the stronger the vitality. Treasures that could improve the divine body were all very precious. The competition for them was naturally fierce. However, Lu Ming did not make a move. He sped up and rushed into the depths of the valley. "Kid, be careful. Someone wants to kill you." At this time, a voice came out from Lu Ming's sea of consciousness. "Someone wants to kill me?" Lu Ming did not hesitate. He was alert. "Wait," this voice. Suddenly Lu Ming's figure stopped. His face was full of shock. Because the voice in his sea of consciousness was very unfamiliar. It was not the voice of the measure formula or the battle formula, but another voice. However, in his sea of consciousness, other than the measure formula and the battle formula, was there something else? "Oh, who is in my sea of consciousness?" Lu Ming shouted with his mind power. "Kit, there's something in your scroll." This time, it was the voice of the measure formula. "Painting?" Lu Ming instantly thought of Jianghu's portrait. However, the remnant imprint left behind by Jianghu had already vanished. The portrait had also vanished. Were there other existences in this painting? "Brat, what's there to be surprised about? Ever since you obtained Jianghu's portrait, I've always been there. During this period of time I've been observing you. It's just that you didn't notice." That strange voice from before sounded again. Indeed, it came from Jianghu's portrait. Then, to Lu Ming's surprise, an arm stretched out from the portrait. However, this arm was not made of flesh and blood. Instead, it was a bone. It was pitch black in color, as if it had been polished from black jade. Following that, Lu Ming saw a skeleton crawl out from Jianghu's portrait. It was a jet black skeleton. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. There was actually a skeleton hidden in the painting. What was going on? Who was this skeleton? Could it be Jianghu himself? In an instant, dozens of thoughts flashed through Lu Ming's mind. "Kid, don't be too surprised. I've already said that someone wants to kill you and is already approaching. If you want to die, continue to be in a daze." The skeleton continued to speak. Lu Ming immediately calmed down. As expected, he felt a cold aura spreading towards him. At the same time, a dark-skinned old man quickly approached Lu Ming. A sword light pierced towards Lu Ming's back. It was fast, accurate, and ruthless. It was a sure kill move in one breath. Moreover, its power was astonishing. If it weren't for the black skeleton's reminder, Lu Ming would probably be in danger. However, after the black skeleton's reminder, Lu Ming had already reacted in advance. In an instant, Lu Ming had already activated the 9-layered golden armor. A layer of golden armor covered his entire body. At the same time, Lu Ming quickly turned around and stabbed out with his spear, aiming at the sword light. Clang! The long spear and the sword light collided, bursting out with an ear-piercing collision sound and overflowing with energy. However, the power of the sword light was truly astonishing. The terrifying sword chi caused the long spear to vibrate continuously. Then it passed through the long spear and strangled towards Lu Ming. Bang! Bang! The golden armor on Lu Ming's body shook crazily, and cracks actually appeared on it. Lu Ming's body was directly sent flying, smashing into a 100-meter-tall boulder. His body was covered with sword wounds and blood flowed out. Fortunately, the sword light passed through the long spear and the golden armor one after another. Its power was no longer strong, and Lu Ming only suffered some superficial wounds. The dark-skinned old man was slightly taken aback when he didn't kill Lu Ming with one strike. He seemed very surprised. "Who are you? Why do you want to kill me?" Lu Ming stared at the dark-skinned old man and asked coldly. The old man's strength was extremely terrifying. His cultivation was at the peak of level 9 True God Realm, and he had mastered King-grade divine power. With Lu Ming's current strength, if he went all out, he could fight with an ordinary level 9 True God. However, if he encountered a peak level 9 True God, he would most likely be defeated. Moreover, the old man had mastered King-grade divine power, and his strength was far above Lu Ming's. The key point was that Lu Ming didn't know this old man. "Kill?" The dark-skinned old man didn't say much. He shouted coldly and his body was like lightning, pouncing towards Lu Ming. Before he arrived, beams of terrifying sword gleams had already surged toward Lu Ming. Ice chains? Lu Ming's mind moved, and 8 ice chains flew out like 8 long dragons, wrapping around the dark-skinned old man. Clang! Clang! The old man's sword light kept slashing on the ice chains and sparks flew everywhere. The ice chains kept shaking and sword marks appeared on it. However, it still managed to block the old man's attack. At the same time, a frightening chill began to spread toward the dark-skinned old man, causing his body to involuntarily shiver. Secret technique: ice shackles. That little brat actually managed to cultivate the ice shackles. The dark-skinned old man was shocked. He then let out a low roar, and an even more terrifying divine power exploded from his body. Sword light kept bursting out, shaking off the ice chains that were wrapping around him, and charged towards Lu Ming. World extinguishing 3 strikes, moon slashing. Lu Ming shouted and used his strongest move. A crescent-shaped attack flew towards the dark-skinned old man. Boom. The two of them collided once again and a terrifying force exploded between them. Retreat, quickly retreat. The others on the side were shocked and they quickly retreated. A few of the weaker ones were killed by the force that overflowed from the collision. What terrifying strength. Who are these two people? They are stronger than many territorial lords. Many people were shocked. Perhaps only the most terrifying territorial lords on the ancient god planet could match up to such combat strength. Lad, go to hell. The dark-skinned old man roared, and a steady stream of divine power poured into his body. The sword light exploded, and Lu Ming's body shook violently, and he flew backwards, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Now's the time. Lu Ming's eyes moved and another ice chain flew out from his body. This was the last ice chain and also the strongest one. It was the one that had been refined by the mysterious liquid to reach the great accomplishment stage. Chapter 2773. The dark-skinned old man obviously did not expect Lu Ming to have such a move. He was slightly shocked, and at the same time he changed the direction of his sword and slashed at the 9th ice chain. However, when his battle sword slashed at the 9th ice chain, his face suddenly changed. This was because he felt an extremely terrifying chill spreading towards him, as if it wanted to freeze his blood and even his divine power. Clatter. The other ice chains shook and wrapped around the dark-skinned old man, wanting to trap him. This kid has such a shocking method. The dark-skinned old man was shocked and no longer cared about hiding his identity. At this moment he erupted with all his strength. Boom. His body was like a volcano erupting, his divine power boiling and attacking the chill on his body. At the same time, sword light burst out and swept away the ice chains that were wrapping around him. However, he could not continue to disguise himself even after using all his strength. His physique and muscles began to change, revealing his original appearance. Lezhong. Lu Ming roared, his killing intent cold. That's right, this dark-skinned old man was Lezhong. He had disguised himself and seemed to have cultivated some kind of secret technique. Even his aura was hidden. Lu Ming did not recognize him at all. Lu Ming, you really surprised me. You actually forced me to reveal my true appearance. However, you still have to die. Lezhong shouted coldly, his eyes extremely cold. Today he must kill Lu Ming. He roared in his heart. Lu Ming was too terrifying. He was so young and his cultivation was only at the first level of True God Realm, but his combat strength was unimaginably terrifying. A first level of True God Realm was only injured but not killed under his continuous attacks. If he did not see it with his own eyes, it would be hard to believe such combat strength. If Lu Ming was given a period of time to grow, it would be incredible. After a period of time he would probably die in Lu Ming's hands. Therefore he must kill Lu Ming. Kill. Lezhong erupted with all his strength and charged towards Lu Ming. Go. This time Lu Ming turned and left. He was too lazy to fight with Lezhong. With his current strength he was indeed not Lezhong's opponent. Even if he used all his means he was still no match for Lezhong. Since he was no match for Lezhong, it would be too stupid to continue fighting. This old man, I'll kill him later. Lu Ming said inwardly. As long as he obtained the ancient divine flower, his divine body would transform, and his combat strength would increase by 4 times. As Lu Ming cast the 9 heavens Kunpeng technique and rushed toward the depths of the valley. You want to leave? No matter where you go today I will kill you. And? Of course, there were also others who were rushing towards the depths of the valley. At the same time, there was a very strong energy fluctuation. Suddenly Lu Ming could not help but stop in his tracks. He widened his eyes and stared ahead in a daze. Kid, why aren't you running? Lezhong chased after him quickly. Before he could finish his words he also stopped. His eyes were wide open as he looked in front of him in disbelief. Not only the two of them but the other people who had rushed here also had the same reaction. They were dumbfounded and tongue-tied. Then they were filled with greed. That was because there were ancient divine flowers in front of them. There was a piece of flat land in front of them. There was a valley in each of the 8 directions. The valley that Lu Ming and the others were in was only one of the 8. The 8 valleys converged here. The intersection was filled with ancient god flowers. God knows how many ancient divine flowers there were. It was like a sea of ancient divine flowers swaying and dazzling people. Gulp. Even Lu Ming could not help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. He did not expect that there would be so many ancient divine flowers here. 10,000? 20,000? Anyway, it was hard to count. Haha, I'm rich, I'm rich. There are so many ancient divine flowers. How much has my divine body improved? Everyone finally reacted. Immediately, many people rushed toward the ancient divine flowers. Their eyes were red as they rushed toward the ancient divine flowers. Ancient divine flowers. Lu Zhong's eyes were filled with greed. He did not care about killing Lu Ming. He also rushed toward the ancient divine flowers. His greed for the ancient divine flowers was stronger than his desire to kill Lu Ming. Whoosh. Lu Ming also rushed forward. He formed a big hand with his divine power and tried to grab an ancient divine flower. However, he did not manage to grab it. Runes appeared at the root of the ancient divine flower, forming a halo that shrouded the ancient divine flower and protected it. It's protected by a formation. This ancient divine flower is protected by a formation. Lu Ming was shocked. He then tried to grab another ancient divine flower, but the result was the same. When Lu Ming grabbed it, runes appeared at the root of the ancient divine flower and formed a halo that shrouded the ancient divine flower. Damn it, what's going on? I can't pick it. Damn it, this ancient divine flower is protected by a formation. The others also shouted. They could not pick it, not even one. All the ancient divine flowers were protected by a formation. This made everyone's face extremely gloomy. It was like a mountain of gold in front of them, but they could not get it. Amazing, amazing. This is a formation. All the ancient divine flowers are planted in the formation core. This formation has so many formation cores. What is the person who set it up trying to do? In the sea of consciousness, the black skeleton sat on the scroll and muttered to itself. It saw everything that was happening outside. They're all planted in the formation core. The eyes inside also narrowed. Lu Ming naturally heard the black skeleton's words, and his heart was in turmoil. If that was the case, then this formation was incredible. How many formation cores did it have? The others jumped around crazily to pick the other ancient divine flowers, but without exception, all of them failed. No one could pick an ancient divine flower. At this moment, more and more people came from behind. When they saw the sea of ancient divine flowers, they were also shocked and joined the team to pick them. Naturally, no one could pick a single flower. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Suddenly, a terrifying sound of something breaking through the air came from all directions. Those were arrows. They were like bolts of black lightning shooting toward Lu Ming and the rest. Lu Ming was shocked. He took out his long spear and swung it continuously, deflecting a few arrows. However, not everyone reacted so quickly. There were screams at the scene. Many people were shot by the arrows and died tragically in the sea of ancient divine flowers. Chapter 2774. Who's there? Someone shouted and looked around. Then everyone was shocked. At some point, a large group of people had appeared on the cliffs of the Four Directions Valley. These people held large bows in their hands and stood on top of the cliff, surrounding them. Trespassers of the ancient god's mountain will die, said a young man standing on a cliff to the north. His face was cold and stern. You're right. You are the descendants of the ancient gods? Someone exclaimed. The others were also shocked. Descendants of the ancient gods? Hadn't the descendants of the ancient gods disappeared for countless years? Legend had it that the descendants of the ancient gods had been destroyed, leaving only the ancient gods' mountain. Was it all fake? Could it be that the descendants of the ancient gods had been hiding in the ancient gods' mountain all these years? If the descendants of the ancient gods hadn't been destroyed, why hadn't they appeared for so many years? Many people were full of questions. However, the descendants of the ancient gods obviously wouldn't answer them. Kill. The young man on the northern cliff waved his hand and gave the order. All of a sudden, the descendants of the ancient gods drew their bows and shot arrows at Lu Ming and the rest, emitting a terrifying whistling sound. Anyway, the ancient god flower was protected by the array, so they weren't afraid of hurting it. Buff, buff. People were constantly shot and died on the spot. Blood flowed all over the ground. Many of the descendants of the ancient gods were powerful. Most of them were in the true god realm, and the arrows they shot were very powerful. Except for those at the level of the territorial lords, the others couldn't block 100% of the arrows. Who cares if they're descendants of the ancient gods? Charge and kill them. Someone shouted and rushed toward the cliff to attack the descendants of the ancient gods. Don't overestimate yourself. Get down. Get lost. On top of the cliff, a few burly figures appeared. Their muscles bulged like horned dragons coiling around them. They were filled with power. These people were very powerful. When they attacked, the sky shook violently. Those who had rushed towards the cliff were all shaken down. Even those who were at the domain lord level were shaken down. Bang! Lu Ming stepped on the ground and rushed toward the eastern cliff like a spear. Get down. A middle-aged man charged at Lu Ming. He punched out several times and a terrifying fist energy crushed down on Lu Ming. Strong, shockingly strong. Although this middle-aged man only had the cultivation of True God Realm, he had definitely reached the peak of level 9 True God Realm. His battle prowess was not weaker than Lu Zhong's at all. In fact, he was even stronger. Lu Ming erupted with all his strength and swept out with his spear. However, the opponent's fist energy crushed down on him. Lu Ming's body was pushed back as if he was being crushed by a mountain and fell into the valley. What powerful strength! Lu Ming felt his entire body go numb. The blood in his body boiled and he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He realized that the strength of the other party's divine energy wasn't too bad, but the strength of the other party's divine body was frightening. It was much stronger than other cultivators. When they worked together, their battle prowess was extremely powerful. Descendant of the ancient god. Lu Ming concluded that the other party was definitely a descendant of the ancient god. Legend had it that when the Eldritch universe was first formed, a group of ancient gods were naturally born. This group of ancient gods could be said to be the earliest life forms in the Eldritch universe. The earliest ancient gods were born with terrifying strength. In particular, their divine bodies were so strong that they were abnormally strong. These earliest and most ancient gods were the ancient gods. As for the descendants of the ancient gods on the ancient god planet, it was said that they were the descendants of an ancient god. However, their bloodline was extremely thin, and their divine bodies were still stronger than ordinary people. For a moment, no one was able to rush out of this place. Behind them there were still people rushing over. Soon, more than 10,000 people who had entered the ancient god's mountain had all gathered here. Almost everyone is here. Let's send them on their way. On the northern cliff, the young man said coldly. He then raised his arm and his voice resounded throughout the area. Activate the Grand Array and kill all outsiders who trespass on the ancient god's mountain. Activate the Grand Array. Someone shouted. Bus, bus. Then, dense runes appeared on the cliff walls in all directions. Runes also appeared at the roots of the ancient god flower under Lu Ming's feet. Endless runes intertwined and formed a Grand Array. This area was shrouded in a blood-red light shield. Lu Ming and the others were all covered by this light shield. The descendants of the ancient gods were outside the light shield. Oh no. Many people's faces changed. They had a bad feeling. Back off. Someone shouted. He no longer cared about the ancient god flower and rushed toward the valley where they came from. All kinds of attacks were directed at the light shield. However, these attacks did not cause any ripples on the light shield. The light shield did not move at all. Attack, attack. More people joined in the attack, but it was useless. Hee, these foolish fellas. To think that they still want to escape. Once they enter this great formation, they are destined to never be able to escape. All of you can die here for me. The young man on the northern cliff sneered. It has begun. Next to the young man, an old man said coldly. At this moment, a blood-red mist suddenly appeared in the light shield. Ah! Someone screamed miserably. This person was shrouded in the blood-red mist. His body began to corrode violently. His flesh and blood quickly melted, and in a few breaths he turned into a pool of liquid. The people who witnessed this scene were so scared that their insides trembled. But soon more screams were heard. More blood-red mist rose from the ground. Someone was shrouded in the blood-red mist and followed in the footsteps of the previous person. Damn it, charge out. I don't want to die. Everyone roared and attacked the light shield madly, but it was useless. The blood-red mist inside the light shield grew denser and denser. Sizzle! Lu Ming was shrouded in a ball of blood-red fog. He circulated his divine power with all his might to resist it. However, even with his sovereign's divine power, there were sizzling sounds of corrosion. If this continued, he would not be able to resist it for long. This mist was extremely terrifying. Even with divine power, it was difficult to resist it. Those with strong cultivations, those above the 7th level of true God, could temporarily block it, but those with weak cultivations could not block it at all. Their protective divine power was corroded, and their bodies were corroded by the blood-red mist. They let out mournful screams, and then turned into a pool of blood-red liquid. At first, those below the 3rd level of the true God realm could not resist, but as the blood-red mist grew denser, those above the 4th level of the true God realm could not resist it. "Let me out! Let me out! I don't want to die! Spare me!" Many people screamed and begged for mercy. However, the ancient God descendants were indifferent. They were not moved at all. Chapter 2775. Time slowly passed and the fog became thicker and thicker. Their vision began to be blocked, and their power became stronger and stronger. People were constantly being melted into liquid. The strange thing was that these liquids quickly seeped into the ground and seemed to be absorbed by the ancient God flowers. The ancient God flowers became more and more beautiful. More and more people died. More than 10,000 people came in, but now there were less than 5,000 people left. People were dying every moment. Chi-Chi. Lu Ming's body was surrounded by blood-red fog. His divine power was constantly being corroded. Fortunately, Lu Ming had the quantifying character formula and stored a large amount of divine power. He could always maintain his divine power at its peak state, but this couldn't go on. No matter how much divine power he stored, there would be a moment when it would be exhausted. What should I do? Lu Ming quickly thought of a solution. Incredible, they actually set up such a formation. Someone among the descendants of the ancient gods is very ambitious. At this moment, the black skeleton spoke again. "Senior, what did you see?" Lu Ming hurriedly asked. "Although this formation is mysterious, with my knowledge, I can naturally see through it at a glance." The black skeleton continued proudly. "This formation has an ancient god flower planted in every formation core. It's to plant something big. These ancient god flowers will combine with this formation and absorb a large amount of flesh and blood of powerhouses before it can truly be completed. At that time, the person who set up the formation will absorb everyone's ancient god flowers and condense the heart of the ancient god." What a vicious method. Could it be that we were able to come in because someone deliberately tricked us? Lu Ming whispered. At this moment he thought of a lot of things. Why did a large number of maps of the ancient god's mountain appear at the same time on the ancient god planet? This was obviously done deliberately by someone to attract all the powerhouses of the ancient god planet. Then they would lure them here, kill them, and let the ancient god flowers absorb their flesh and blood. After being reminded by the black skeleton, Lu Ming immediately figured everything out. The reason why they could enter the ancient god's mountain was deliberately arranged by someone. The person who arranged all of this was the descendant of the ancient gods. "Senior, what is the heart of the ancient god?" Lu Ming asked again. "Let me tell you. These so-called descendants of the ancient gods actually have very thin bloodlines. They can't even be considered descendants of the ancient gods. Only those who have condensed the ancient god's heart can be considered true descendants of the ancient gods. With the heart of the ancient god, the divine body can continue to grow stronger and stronger. His fighting prowess is so strong that it's simply not something these people can compare with," Black Skeleton explained. Lu Ming suddenly understood. "However, it's not that easy to condense the ancient god's heart. I'm afraid it's not enough with just your flesh and blood," Black Skeleton said. "If it's not enough, then what's the point of luring us here?" Lu Ming was puzzled. If my guess is correct, the person who set up all of this probably had to sacrifice a large number of descendants of the ancient gods. Only by sacrificing a large number of descendants of the ancient gods would that person be able to condense the ancient god's heart. TSK, what a ruthless method. The black skeleton clicked its tongue as if it was admiring it. Lu Ming, on the other hand, was greatly shocked. He even had to sacrifice a large number of descendants of the ancient gods and slaughter his own clansmen to fulfill his wish. Such a method was really vicious. These descendants of the ancient gods are probably still foolishly kept in the dark. They don't know that they don't have long to live. Black Skeleton chuckled. "Senior, how do we get out? If this continues, I won't be able to hold on for long," Lu Ming said. In just a short while, the blood-red fog here had already become shockingly dense, and their vision was getting worse and worse. Looking up, they could barely see the figures on the cliff. More and more people were dying. The remaining people were all incomparably terrified. Damn it, I don't want to die, I don't want to die. He roared in the entertainment center, his face incomparably ferocious. He never expected that he would put himself in such a dangerous situation when he chased after Lu Ming. Although his cultivation was at the peak of the 9th level of the True God realm and he could still resist for the time being, he would still die after a long time. He was incomparably terrified. The others were the same. Don't worry, I've already saved you several times. How can I watch you die here? In the future, I still have things for you to do. Black Skeleton said. You've saved me several times. Lu Ming was puzzled. Didn't he just remind him that Lezhong wanted to kill him previously? That was only once. Back then, you were besieged by the bloodthirsty demon trees in the plant forest. Who saved you? Jianghu only has a remnant imprint left. How could he have the strength to save you? Black Skeleton berated. Lu Ming suddenly understood. Back then, not long after he joined the Kongshen school, he went to the plant forest with Xian Yanqing, Xian Yanjuan, and the others to train. In an abyss, they encountered a group of terrifying bloodthirsty demon trees. They were no match for them at all. At that time, Jingyu's portrait flew out and scared away the bloodthirsty demon trees. It turned out that it was Black Skeleton who made a move. Wait a minute, if he calls Jianghu that guy, then he's not Jianghu. Lu Ming's heart suddenly stirred. He had previously guessed that Black Skeleton was Jianghu. Junior, thanks Senior for saving me. May I know how to address you? Lu Ming asked. You can call me Bone Demon. Black Skeleton said indifferently. Senior Bone Demon, how can I escape? Lu Ming asked. Although the fog formed by this array formation is powerful, I will transfer a force to you that is enough to block the fog outside. However, let me tell you, I don't have much strength left. If you encounter danger in the future, don't expect me to help you. Bone Demon warned. Thank you, Senior. Lu Ming immediately thanked him. Let's get through the current crisis first. It won't be too late to talk about the future later. Right at this moment, Bone Demon's body shone. A pitch-black energy surged into Lu Ming's body. A layer of black light immediately appeared on the surface of Lu Ming's body, completely blocking the blood-red fog outside and isolating it from the outside. The pressure on Lu Ming was greatly reduced and he relaxed. However, this scene was seen by Lezhong not far away. This kid can actually completely isolate the blood-red fog. Treasure, this kid must have a treasure on him. I have to snatch it. Lezhong roared, his eyes revealing greed. He thought that Lu Ming must have some treasure on him to be able to fend off the blood-colored fog outside. If he could snatch it, he might be able to survive. He quickly rushed towards Lu Ming. This old guy. Lu Ming naturally noticed Lezhong, and a strong killing intent flashed in his eyes. Kid, hand over the treasure on you. Lezhong lowered his voice, afraid that others would hear him and compete with him. Hand it over, your sister, die. Lu Ming shouted and attacked with all his strength. Chapter 2776. Lu Ming used the second move of the 3 apocalyptic blows, Cutting Moon, to attack Lezhong with his full strength. Lezhong also slashed out a ray of sword light that collided with Lu Ming. Boom. The two of them collided. But this time the one to retreat wasn't Lu Ming but Lezhong. Lezhong retreated, trembling incessantly. He almost coughed up blood. How can you use your full strength? Lezhong roared in shock. In this kind of environment he had to divert the majority of his power to block the blood-red mist. His combat power had naturally been greatly reduced. Originally, he had thought that even if Lu Ming had a treasure to block the blood-red mist, he would have to use up a great deal of divine energy. That would also weaken his own strength. Then he would have no problem defeating Lu Ming. But in that clash just now, Lu Ming had been in his peak state. His combat power had reached its peak. Old fellow, die. Lu Ming spoke coldly and charged toward Lezhong. This time it was still the moon-slaying move. At the same time, 9 ice chains also entangled Lezhong. I don't believe it. Lezhong roared and slashed out a ray of sword light at Lu Ming. But when their attacks collided, Lezhong's sword light instantly collapsed. He was sent flying by Lu Ming, coughing up blood. The most terrifying thing was that Lezhong's protective divine power was almost scattered by Lezhong's attack. That kind of blood-colored fog took advantage of this and entered. A trace of it broke through Lezhong's defense and touched his body. White smoke rose from Lezhong's body, and a large chunk of his flesh was corroded. Lezhong was so frightened that he turned and ran. He was truly afraid. How could he still have any thoughts of killing Lu Ming? He only wanted to run as far away from Lu Ming as possible. However, there was no way Lu Ming would let him escape. 9 ice chains wrapped around Lezhong. Although Lu Zhong did his best to resist, he couldn't use much strength to resist the blood-colored mist. He was directly bound by the chains, and the terrifying coldness was about to freeze him. Damn it, Lu Ming, even if I die, I won't let you off easily. Men, this brat has a treasure that can block the blood mist's invasion. As long as he can get that treasure, he won't die. Man. Yu Zhong roared, his voice spreading far and wide. Immediately many people heard it. What? Someone has a treasure that can resist the blood-colored mist? I have to get it. This treasure is mine, those who block me will die. Everyone was in a frenzy. They dashed toward Lu Ming and the rest. The remaining people all understood that if this continued, they would die sooner or later. However, if they had treasures that could resist the blood-colored mist, they would be able to survive. It would be strange if they didn't go crazy. You think you can kill me with such a method? Idiot, I'll send you on your way first. Lu Ming's cold voice rang out as he stabbed his spear at Lu Zhong. Lu Zhong was trapped by the ice chains and was unable to dodge. He was directly killed by the spear. With a wave of his hand, he collected Lu Zhong's spatial ring. At this moment, the others also rushed over. They saw that Lu Ming was covered in a layer of black light that could block the blood-colored mist. Their eyes immediately turned red. It really can block the blood-colored mist. Brat, hand over your treasure. Greed appeared on their faces as they charged at Lu Ming. Since you're courting death, I'll send you on your way first. Lu Ming icily said. 9 ice chains flew out and Lu Ming used the 3 apocalyptic blows to kill them. After a single spear attack, 2 experts were killed. Those who hadn't died yet were all experts. They were practically all domain lords. But even if they were at their peak, they still wouldn't be a match for Lu Ming. Now they had to split the majority of their strength to resist the blood-colored mist. How could they be a match for Lu Ming? They were completely crushed. Kill. Lu Ming's figure was unstoppable. His spear light surged and experts were killed one by one. At the same time, the 9 ice chains flew out, binding the experts and sealing them in ice. A massacre. This was a complete massacre. Just now, over 100 people had charged at Lu Ming. But in an instant, Lu Ming had slaughtered them all. Not a single one was left. Their spatial rings also entered Lu Ming's pocket. These people were all domain lords and they definitely weren't poor. Lu Ming had actually made a huge profit. On the cliff, the ancient god descendants were calmly waiting. At this time the mist was extremely dense. They couldn't see what was happening below, but they had still heard the commotion just now. There's a treasure that can block the formation's attack. Some people's gazes changed. Impossible. Even a high-grade divine item won't be able to block it. At most, it can delay it for a while. Once it drags on, we'll still die. We just have to wait quietly. That youth sneered from the northern side of the cliff. Below the cliff, Lu Ming had killed over 100 experts. Now only Lu Ming was left. It was completely silent. He noticed that the ancient god flower underground had become even more beautiful. Those experts that Lu Ming had killed had their flesh corroded by the mist, and their flesh had turned into liquid that was absorbed by the ground. What a vicious evil formation. Senior Bone Devil, this mist might be blocked, but how do I get out? Asked Lu Ming. It's very simple. You just have to rely on yourself, said Bone Devil. Rely on myself. Lu Ming was puzzled. This formation's light barrier was extremely sturdy. So many experts had joined hands to attack it, but they hadn't been able to break it. How could he break it? Yes, rely on yourself. One of the ice chains you've cultivated is extremely powerful. It's filled with a terrifying cold chi. It's enough to break this formation's light barrier, said Bone Devil. Ice chains? Could it be the 9th ice chain? Lu Ming's heart shook. He decided to give it a try. Lu Ming's gaze flickered and then he flew north. Arriving at the northern cliff, Lu Ming withdrew his aura and flew up. On the cliff, that youth and the other ancient god descendants didn't notice him at all. When Lu Ming neared the cliff, he suddenly used the ice shackles. The 9th ice shackles dashed toward the light shield like a bolt of white lightning. When the 9th ice chain hit the light barrier, it went against Lu Ming's expectations. The light barrier was directly pierced through. The ice shackles quickly wrapped around the young man. It was easy to see that this youth had a very high status among these ancient god descendants. As long as he could take him as a hostage, Lu Ming might be able to escape, and he might even be able to obtain a lot of ancient god flowers. The ancient god descendants were very relaxed. They hadn't thought that someone would be able to break out of the formation. By the time they realized that the ice chain was wrapping around the youth, it was already too late. Careful. Someone shouted a warning and charged at the ice chain. But it was already over. The ice chain wrapped around the youth and pulled him into the formation. Chapter 2777. After pulling the young man into the array, Lu Ming's black light shrouded the young man and blocked the blood-red mist outside. He still wanted to take the young man as a hostage, so he couldn't let him die. Ah! The young man screamed in horror. When he realized that he was fine, he became bolder and shouted, "Kid, let me go. Let me go. I can let you go, but you have to get your people to remove the array and let me go. Also, give me 100 ancient god flowers, no, 500 ancient god flowers." Lu Ming said coldly. 500 ancient god flowers? Impossible. The young man shouted. What do you say? Do you want him to die, or hand over the ancient god flowers and let me go? Lu Ming ignored the young man and looked at the descendants of the ancient gods on the cliff. The descendants of the ancient gods had ugly expressions. Kid, do you know who he is? He's the son of the great elder. If anything happens to him, you'll die too. An old man said coldly. I don't care whose son he is. If he doesn't hand over the ancient god flowers, I'll throw him out and let him die in this array. Lu Ming said coldly. He didn't care whose son the young man was. The higher the young man's status, the better. That way he could get the ancient god flowers and leave. The old man and the other descendants of the ancient gods all had ugly expressions. These people looked at each other. For a moment they didn't know what to do. Save me. Save me. The young man shouted. We have to report this to the great elder or the patriarch before we can make a decision. The old man said. There's no need to report. At this time a cold voice sounded. Then a tall old man with white hair and a beard walked over. The young man was overjoyed when he saw the old man and shouted, Father, Father, save me. Greetings, great elder. The other descendants of the ancient gods bowed. It turned out that this person was the great elder of the ancient god clan. This person has a very high cultivation. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat when he saw the great elder of the ancient god clan. The pressure this person gave him was shocking. This made Lu Ming feel as though he was facing the outer sect elders of the Kongshan school. One had to know that the outer sect elders of the Kongshan school were all sky celestial realm existences. It was very likely that this person was also a heavenly god. The great elder of the ancient god clan looked gloomy. He looked at Lu Ming and said, Let my son go and I promise to let you go. Hearing those words, the young man was overjoyed. Give the 500 ancient god flowers to me first. Then remove the formation and let me leave this place. Then I will naturally let them go. Lu Ming said. Let him go first. Shouted the great elder of the ancient god clan. Release him first? Do you think it's possible? Lu Ming sneered. He didn't believe the other party. Kid, don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. The great elder of the ancient god clan looked gloomy and was filled with terrifying killing intent. Hand over the ancient god flowers, remove the formation and let me go. Then I will naturally let them go. The conditions are simple. Lu Ming said coldly. The great elder of the ancient god clan's expression changed. Finally he showed a determined look. The secret of this place must not be leaked. Wait, or go in peace. Father will avenge you. What? Hearing that, Lu Ming was shocked. The great elder didn't care about the young man's life and death. He didn't even care about his own son. No, no, father, no, save me. The young man shouted crazily. Continue to activate the formation. Also, send out experts to block this person's escape route and prevent him from rushing out. This time, everyone who came in must die. None of them can be left alive. The great elder of the ancient god clan ordered coldly. Yes. The other descendants of the ancient gods flashed and rushed to the valley where Lu Ming and the others came from. They wanted to prevent Lu Ming from rushing out from there. Damn it. Lu Ming roared inwardly. His eyes were cold as he stared at the great elder of the ancient god clan. Since you don't even care about your own son, I will fulfill your wish. Lu Ming's mind moved. The ice chains wrapped around the young man and sent him into the blood-red fog. Chi-chi suddenly, the sound of corrosion came from the young man's body. The young man screamed miserably. Wait, or go in peace. Father will avenge you. I will crush this brat's bones and scatter his ashes. I will let him die miserably. The great elder of the ancient god clan's voice was extremely gloomy and cold. This old man, could it be that he was the one who set up this formation? Lu Ming couldn't help but think. He couldn't help but suspect that the great elder of the ancient god clan had set up this formation so that he could condense the ancient god heart. That was why he didn't even care about his own son. Since you don't even care about your own son, I will fulfill your wish. Lu Ming threw the young man into the valley. The young man screamed miserably. After a while he stopped breathing. The great elder of the ancient god clan was filled with killing intent. If it weren't for the fact that he was also afraid of the blood-red fog, he would have already charged in and killed Lu Ming with one slap. Activate the formation. Let's see how long he can last. The great elder of the ancient god clan ordered. Buzz. Suddenly, the runes in the surroundings shone even more dazzlingly. The blood-red fog in the formation became even denser. Lu Ming didn't stay. His figure flashed and he entered the fog. He rushed toward the valley he had come from. However, when he arrived, he found that outside the array, there were many powerhouses of the ancient god's descendants. What a mistake, Lu Ming muttered. This time it really was a mistake. He hadn't expected the great elder of the ancient god clan to be so ruthless. He didn't even care about his own son's life. Originally, he had planned to take that young man as a hostage and exchange him for some ancient god flowers before leaving. Otherwise, Lu Ming could have rushed out of the valley without anyone noticing. He might have succeeded. But now it was too late. A large number of experts had surrounded him. If he charged in now, only death would await him. I can only go in another direction. Lu Ming entered the fog again and rushed toward another valley. There were a total of 8 valleys here. He didn't know where the other 7 led to. Lu Ming randomly chose a valley. When he approached the formation, the 9th ice chain flew out. With the head of the ice chain as the core, it constantly rotated. Bang! There was a hole in the light shield of the array and Lu Ming dashed out. There were ancient god descendants guarding this place. As soon as Lu Ming rushed out, he was discovered. That brat is here. Stop him. Kill. Those ancient god descendants charged at Lu Ming. However, there weren't many people here. Most of them had gone to the valley Lu Ming had come from. There were only 7 or 8 people here. World extinguishing 3 strikes, moon severing. Lu Ming exerted all his strength and cast the 3 strokes of annihilation. A crescent-shaped attack burst forth. Boom. Of these ancient god descendants, the strongest was only at the 8th level of the true god realm. Lu Ming broke through their defenses and rushed out. Chapter 2778. As soon as Lu Ming broke out of the encirclement, he ran towards the depths of the valley. This kid is here. Don't let him get away. Chase him. The descendant of the ancient god roared and chased after Lu Ming. Chase him. You must catch this kid. I'm going to grind his bones to dust. The great elder of the ancient god clan roared furiously. He dashed out and chased after Lu Ming. Lu Ming cast the 9 heavens Kunping technique and flew at full speed. He dashed out of the valley very quickly. Behind this valley was a boundless area of hills and rivers. In some places one could even see palaces and houses. Obviously, this was the residence of the descendants of the ancient god, where the real ancient god mountain was located. But now Lu Ming couldn't care less. He randomly chose a direction and rushed over. Behind him, the descendants of the ancient god chased after him. Lu Ming performed the Garuda technique to the extreme. His speed was amazing. He was like a Garuda leaping through the void. Soon, a mountain peak appeared in front of Lu Ming. The environment on the mountain peak was very good. There was a small lake and a house beside the lake. At this moment, Lu Ming saw a young girl practicing swordsmanship by the lake. Her swordsmanship was agile, like a silver snake dancing in the air. It was obvious that she was extraordinary. At this moment, the descendants of the ancient god who were chasing after him were shocked. Oh no, the residence of the 3rd miss is ahead. One of the descendants of the ancient god exclaimed. Idiot, don't shout. Another descendant of the ancient god shouted. She shouted so loudly. What if Lu Ming heard her? Unfortunately, it was too late. Lu Ming had heard that person's shout. 3rd miss? Seems like she's a big shot. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold as he rushed towards the young girl. The young girl had already seen Lu Ming. She was slightly stunned and then shouted, Who are you? How dare you trespass on my cultivation place? Lu Ming didn't bother to talk nonsense with her. He formed a big hand with his divine power and grabbed at the young girl. You, how dare you? The young woman was shocked. The battle sword in her hand slashed towards Lu Ming. This young lady was a peak 9th empty god realm cultivator. The divine power she controlled was also powerful. However, such cultivation was nothing in front of Lu Ming. The huge hand pressed down and the sword light collapsed. The young woman was caught in Lu Ming's hand. Third miss, let go of third miss. Behind them, some ancient god descendants rushed over, and when they saw the young woman being captured, their expressions changed drastically, and they started shouting loudly. Stop right there. Lu Ming used his divine power to form a giant hand and grab the young woman. The descendants of the ancient gods all stopped in the distance, not daring to get close. Clearly they were afraid of the young woman's identity. You. Who are you? Let me go. The young woman cried out and struggled with all her might. However, with her cultivation, how could she break free? Third miss, this person is an outsider who harbors ill intentions. An ancient god's descendant shouted. You're an outsider? Let me go, you despicable outsider. The young woman struggled and shouted angrily. However, Lu Ming was not moved at all, and he quickly retreated with the young woman. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Behind them, many figures flew over like lightning, and the one leading them was the great elder of the ancient god clan. Great elder, save me, the young woman cried for help. Kid, let her go. The great elder of the ancient god clan roared, and a terrifying aura pressed down on Lu Ming, causing Lu Ming's body to tremble violently. He kept retreating and he almost vomited blood. Terrifying. The great elder of the ancient god clan was extremely powerful. He was definitely a heavenly god, otherwise he wouldn't be able to release such a terrifying aura. Back off or I'll kill her. Lu Ming bellowed, exuding a cold murderous intent. The long spear in his hand was aimed at the young lady's glabella. The elder of the ancient god clan and the other members of the ancient god clan turned pale. Kid, how dare you? The great elder of the ancient god clan roared. Why wouldn't I dare? Anyway, you won't let me go now. At most, we'll die together. With such a beauty accompanying me, it's worth it. Hee. Lu Ming sneered. The great elder of the ancient god clan looked pale, but the young woman's identity was not to be underestimated. She was the third daughter of the ancient god clan leader, and also the ancient god clan leader's favorite daughter. He didn't dare to act rashly. He could ignore his son's life, but he couldn't ignore the life and death of the ancient god clan leader's daughter. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. Kid, let me tell you. Even if you capture the third miss, you won't be able to leave the ancient god's mountain. The ancient god clan won't compromise. The great elder of the ancient god clan said coldly, and his face was resolute. Lu Ming frowned. The great elder of the ancient god clan seemed determined not to let him leave the ancient god's mountain. He didn't even care about the life and death of his son, as if he was afraid that the secret of the ancient god's mountain would be leaked. If Lu Ming used the same trick again, using the young woman as a hostage to force the great elder to let him go, the great elder would probably fight to the death. If that was the case in such an environment, there was no way he could survive. The only thing he could do now was to take a step back. Who said I'm leaving the ancient god's mountain? I'm telling you not to chase after me. Stop here. Do you understand? Lu Ming said coldly and slowly retreated with the young woman. As expected, the great elder of the ancient god descendants didn't chase after them. He just watched as Lu Ming slowly left. Great elder, aren't we going to chase after him? Someone asked. Let this kid leave first. Anyway, this is the ancient god's mountain and he can't get out. Let's keep him here so that the third miss won't be hurt. Also, immediately inform the clan leader about this and ask him to send more experts to chase after that kid. The great elder ordered. Yes. The other ancient god descendants started to move. Lu Ming flew with the young woman, and when he realized that no one was chasing after them, he heaved a sigh of relief. Lu Ming specifically flew to a remote place. After flying for a while, Lu Ming found a hidden canyon and flew in. You outsider, let me go or my father won't let you off. The young woman shouted. Is your father the clan leader of the ancient god descendants? Lu Ming asked. Yes, you're scared now. Let me go, you despicable outsider. The young woman glared at Lu Ming. You're really the daughter of the clan leader of the ancient god descendants. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. No wonder those ancient god descendants were so afraid. He sighed that he was really lucky to have met the daughter of the clan leader of the ancient god descendants. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to escape. Stay here or you'll get it. Lu Ming glanced at the young woman coldly. Kill me if you want. You vicious person, I'm not afraid of you. The young woman widened her eyes and glared at Lu Ming. She looked as if she was going to die. Chapter 2779. Lu Ming was speechless. Vicious? How am I vicious? You outsiders are all vicious people. You came to the ancient god's mountain with bad intentions. The young woman said coldly. Aha, we have ill intentions? We just came to pick some ancient god flowers. How is that vicious? Speaking of viciousness, you descendants of the ancient gods are the real vicious ones. You deliberately released the map of the ancient god's mountain to lure us here. Then you trapped us with a formation and fed our flesh and blood to the ancient god flowers. Are we vicious or are you vicious? Lu Ming said coldly. You're talking nonsense. We descendants of the ancient gods would never do such a cruel thing. Don't try to slander us. The young lady gritted her teeth and glared at Lu Ming. She had a hateful look on her face. Does this woman really not know? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Stop pretending. You descendants of the ancient gods have set up a formation and used the ancient god flowers as the eye of the formation to absorb the flesh and blood of a large number of experts to condense the ancient god's heart. Don't think that I don't know. Also, the flesh and blood of us outsiders is not enough. I'm afraid that most of you descendants of the ancient gods will be buried with us. They will all be sacrificed. Lu Ming said coldly. As he spoke, he stared at the young woman to see her reaction. The woman's face turned pale. Then she stared at Lu Ming angrily and shouted, You're talking nonsense. That's impossible. That formation was set up by my father. My father would never do such a thing. Don't you dare slander him. That formation was set up by the leader of the descendants of the ancient gods. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He sneered and said, There's nothing you can do if you don't believe it. But it's the truth. We got hundreds of maps of the ancient god's mountain from the outside and found the ancient god's mountain through the maps. But in the end, everyone died except for me. Next, the descendants of the ancient gods will die. Shut up. You're talking nonsense. Don't talk nonsense. I won't allow you to slander my father. The young woman shouted, but her eyes were no longer as firm as before. She looked suspicious. He's not talking nonsense. Right at this moment, an aged voice sounded out from outside the valley. When the voice sounded, it was still very far away. However, by the time the voice faded away, it was already very close to them. An expert, a peerless expert had come. Lu Ming was shocked. With a thought, the ice shackles flew out and wrapped around the young woman. He wanted to control the young woman. But when the ice chains flew out, a terrifying pressure came from the sky. This pressure was even heavier than a mountain. The 9 ice chains were actually locked down by this pressure. At the same time, the pressure pressed down on Lu Ming, causing Lu Ming to continuously retreat. At this moment, an old man holding a dragon-headed walking stick appeared in the valley. The wrinkles on the old man's face piled up like a mountain, making him look very old. Not good, it's a 3rd-level heavenly god. We're done for, Bone yelled. Grandpa Gubo. Seeing this old man, the young woman beamed with joy and ran towards him. Xing, are you all right? The old man looked at the young woman dotingly. The young woman's name was Gu Xing. I'm fine, Grandpa Gubo. This outsider dared to slander father. By the way, Grandpa Gubo, why did you say that he's right? Gu Xing was quite happy, but when she said the last sentence, she showed a hint of doubt. I mean, what this little guy said is very likely to be true. Sigh. Gubo let out a sigh. Really? How is this possible? Impossible, this is impossible. Gu Xing's eyes were filled with disbelief as she kept shaking her head. Lu Ming said that his father had set up a formation to nourish the ancient god flower with the flesh and blood of outsiders. Later on, he would use the flesh and blood of the descendants of the ancient god to nourish the ancient god flower. How was this possible? She found it hard to believe. Sigh, I didn't believe it at the beginning either. However, since the patriarch set up the formation and gave the order to seal the mountain, I began to doubt it. All these years I've been secretly investigating and finally found out the truth. Your father is too obsessed. He wants the descendants of the ancient god clan to walk on the path of glory and condense the heart of the ancient god. For this he will do anything. Gubo sighed and his voice was filled with helplessness. How could this be? How could this be? Gu Xing was completely at a loss. This blow was too big for her. If Gubo had not told her this news, she would never have believed it. However, Gubo would not lie to her. Little guy, you can see the function of the formation at a glance and deduce so many things. You're not simple. Gubo looked at Lu Ming with a surprised face. I'm just guessing by chance. Senior, I have no ill intentions towards the descendants of the ancient god clan. I just want to take a few ancient god flowers. Senior, can you let me leave? Lu Ming explained. I'm afraid it's difficult for you to leave now. The Patriarch has given the order to seal all the exits. Even if I want to help you I can't, Gu Bo said. All the exits have been sealed. Lu Ming frowned. This was going to be troublesome. No, I have to stop my father. I have to stop him. Gu Xing shouted in a daze and was about to rush out of the valley. Gu Bo waved his hand and a divine power shrouded Gu Xing, stopping her. Grandpa Gu Bo, why are you stopping me? I want to see my father. I have to stop him. Gu Xing shouted. Xing'er, the Patriarch is too obsessed. Moreover, things are about to reach the final stage. You won't be able to stop him even if you go. Instead, you'll be put under house arrest. Gu Bo said. Then what should we do? Are we just going to let it go? If it's true, how many of our clansmen will die tragically? We'll be sinners for eternity. Gu Xing shouted. Of course not. If I'm not wrong, the Patriarch will definitely choose to take action at the ancestral worship ceremony a month later. At that time, I'm afraid that 90% of our clansmen will be sacrificed. Gu Bo said. Gu Xing shuddered. Yes, the ancestral worship ceremony a month later. At that time, all the descendants of the ancient god clan would gather at the 8 valleys to worship their ancestors. That was the best time to take action. During this period I'll secretly gather some people. When your father takes action we'll stop him. Gu Bo looked at Lu Ming and said, Little friend, why don't you stay and help this old man? Only by stopping the Patriarch's evil deeds can you leave. At that time this old man will give you some ancient god flowers. What do you think? All right. Lu Ming nodded. In this situation he could only choose to agree. What else could he do if he didn't agree? Chapter 2780. Good. Now leave with this old man. Come to this old man's residence. I will spread the news that Xing'er has been rescued by this old man. Little brother, you should change your appearance so this old man can bring you away. Gu Bo said. Lu Ming nodded. At this time he could only choose to believe Gu Bo. Moreover, with Gu Bo's cultivation, there was no need to lie to him. He did not have a hostage in his hands. If Gu Bo wanted to kill him it would be a piece of cake. Immediately, Lu Ming changed his appearance and clothes and followed Gu Bo outside. Soon a group of people flew in front of them. When they saw Gu Xing they were overjoyed. Third Miss, are you all right? Someone was overjoyed. Don't worry, Third Miss has been rescued by me. Gu Bo said. Lord Grand Elder, I wonder how that foreign brat is doing? Someone asked. That brat has already been killed by this old man. Not even his bones remain. You can rest assured. Gu Bo said. I see. The group of people nodded, but when they glanced at Lu Ming, they still showed a trace of suspicion. However, in front of Gu Bo, they did not dare to be presumptuous. Gu Bo was one of the few remaining grand elders of the ancient god descendants. His seniority was frighteningly high. The group of people glanced at Lu Ming and then left. Lu Ming followed Gu Bo and arrived at Gu Bo's residence without any mishap. For the rest of the time, Lu Ming would stay here while Gu Bo would secretly contact experts whom he could trust. 1 month later they would stop the leader of the descendants of the ancient gods. Gu Xing was obviously absent-minded. Time flew and in the blink of an eye, a month had passed. This day was the day when the ancient god descendants worshipped their ancestors. The location was the gathering place of the 8 valleys, the place full of ancient god flowers. That place was the sacred place of the ancient god clan. The gathering place of the 8 valleys was full of people. Most of the ancient god descendants had gathered at the gathering place of the 8 valleys. On the northern cliff there was a group of people standing. The leader was a middle-aged burly man with a square face and a dignified face. This person was the ancient god descendants patriarch, Gu Xing's father, Gu Xiong. Beside Gu Xiong stood the first elder and a few other elders. Ancestral worship begins. Gu Xiong's voice resounded throughout the entire arena. Welcome, ancestral altar. All the members of the ancient god clan shouted in unison. Then 8 abnormally tall and sturdy men, carrying an altar, stepped into the air and flew over. With every step they took there would be a dull thud in the void. It was as if they were walking while carrying a divine mountain. This altar was ancient and full of vicissitudes. It was the ancestral altar of the ancient god clan. When the 8 burly men carried the altar to the place where the 8 valleys converged, the altar emitted a resplendent light. Runes appeared on it, and then it flew into the void and began to expand. Whoosh! Gu Xiong flew to the altar and sat down cross-legged. All the descendants of the ancient gods bowed to Gu Xiong. Today after today I will definitely rise again. The ancient god clan will definitely rise again. I hope you don't blame me. What you've done is worth it. Looking at the thousands of descendants of the ancient gods, Gu Xiong roared in his heart. He had been preparing for this day for far too long. Today he would condense the ancient god heart. He wanted to recreate the glory of the ancient gods. Second elder, fifth elder, you can all go down. At this moment, Gu Xiong looked at some of the people on the cliff. Many of them were elders of the descendants of the ancient gods. We have to go down too? The elders were stunned. According to the usual practice, the elders only needed to stand on the cliff. There was no need for them to go down. That's right. All of you go down. Gu Xiong said again. His tone was a little heavier. Although the elders were a little confused, they did not disobey. They flew down to the place where the 8 valleys converged and stood in the sea of ancient god flowers. Of course, not all of the elders flew down. For example, the first elder and a few others were still standing there, not moving. Obviously, these people had known about Gu Xiong's plan and were supporters of Gu Xiong. Where's Xing'e? Is she not here? Gu Xiong looked at the great elder. Third miss is not here. She has been staying with Grand Elder Gu Bo, the great elder reported. Is that so? That's good too. Gu Xiong's eyes flashed with a strange light. In fact, at this moment, Gu Xing was already nearby. Gu Xing, Lu Ming, Gu Bo, and some of the people that Gu Bo contacted came to a secret place in the distance and watched from a distance. Father, I hope you won't do anything foolish. Gu Xing clenched her hands tightly. She was very nervous. At this moment, Gu Xiong began to speak. We, the descendants of the ancient gods, are the descendants of the ancient gods. We have noble blood flowing in our veins. We should be the rulers of the primitive universe, the royal family of the primitive universe. But now we are hiding on a small planet. Fellow clansmen, are you willing to accept this? Gu Xiong's voice was heard. Yes. Yes. The descendants of the ancient gods shouted. Their voices were loud enough to topple mountains and overturn seas. I'm not willing to accept this either. Gu Xiong shouted. I once swore that I will lead our clan to glory in this life. For this, I will do anything, including my own life. What about you? Are you willing to sacrifice your lives for the glory of our clan? Yes. We are willing to sacrifice our lives. The descendants of the ancient gods shouted. Good. Since you are all willing, today is the day you sacrifice yourselves to make our clan successful. Activate the Grand Array. Gu Xiong shouted. His eyes were suddenly filled with cold, murderous intent. Activate the Grand Array. The Great Elder and the others also shouted. Suddenly, countless runes appeared on the cliff and the ground of the 8 Valleys congregation. A light shield completely shrouded the descendants of the ancient gods and the 8 Valleys congregation. What is going on? Patriarch, what are you doing? Many of the descendants of the ancient gods felt that something was wrong and shouted. But the next moment, a scream was heard. A cloud of blood-red mist appeared and shrouded an ancient god descendant. The descendant's cultivation was not high. His flesh and blood were quickly corroded and turned into a pool of blood. Oh, what is going on? Patriarch, what are you doing? Many people shouted. Father? In the distance, Gu Xing collapsed on the ground as if she had been drained of her strength. Her eyes were full of disappointment. As expected, as expected. Rush out and stop them. Remember, deactivate the Grand Array first. Gu Bo roared and took the lead to rush out. The others followed Gu Bo and flew out. Lu Ming mixed in the crowd and flew out together. Your sacrifice will be exchanged for the glory of our clan. Go in peace. Gu Xiong's cold voice was heard. Ah, beast. You are a beast. You want to sacrifice us for your own sake? Some elders finally saw through Gu Xiong's sinister intentions and shouted. Chapter 2781. Charge. Charge out. All of the ancient god descendants were enraged. They charged towards the light barrier and attacked it. However, the light barrier did not budge at all. They could not break it at all. Ah! Screams were heard continuously. The blood-red mist in the formation grew thicker. Those with weaker cultivation could not withstand it at all. Once they were enveloped by the blood-red mist, only death was waiting for them. At this moment, Gu Bo and the rest had arrived. Gu Xiong, you're ambitious. You want to condense the ancient god's heart by sacrificing so many people. I won't allow you to do that. Gu Bo roared. It's eminent elder Gu Bo. It's eminent elder Gu Bo. The ancient god descendants who were trapped in the formation were overjoyed when they saw Gu Bo. Gu Bo. Gu Xiong looked at Gu Bo with cold killing intent in his eyes. Leave Gu Xiong to me. You guys go and close the formation. Gu Bo shouted at the others and pounced on Gu Xiong. You think you can stop me? Naive. Die. Gu Xiong shouted and flew up into the sky, punching towards Gu Bo. Gu Bo did not evade at all and also exploded with an attack, blasting out a terrifying attack. Boom. The two of them collided, causing a loud explosion. However, the result was a tie. As the leader of the ancient god descendants, Gu Xiong's strength was also shocking. He had reached the third-level heavenly god realm. The two of them engaged in an intense battle. For a moment, it was hard to determine the winner. On the other hand, Lu Ming and the rest dashed toward the array base on the cliff. You want to close the formation? Don't even think about it. Stop them. If they resist, kill them without mercy. The Great Elder gave the order and soared into the sky, unleashing a terrifying attack. The Great Elder was a first-level heavenly god. He was extremely terrifying. However, there was also a first-level heavenly god on Lu Ming's side. He charged towards the Great Elder and both sides engaged in an intense battle. Lu Ming and the rest were engaged in a fierce battle with the others. Ice chains. At this moment, Lu Ming did not care about hiding his identity. He used all his strength. 9 ice chains flew out and swept towards the ancient god descendants. It's you, outsider. As soon as Lu Ming attacked, the first elder recognized Lu Ming. He let out a furious roar, his eyes filled with malevolence. It was all because of Lu Ming that he had watched helplessly as his son died in the array. He wished he could grind Lu Ming's bones to dust. Kill this brat, the Great Elder roared. Leave this brat to me. An old man charged towards Lu Ming. The saber in his hand slashed out rays of saber light. Clang, clang. The saber light slashed at the ice chains and sent them flying back. This old man was an elder of the ancient god's descendants. His cultivation had reached the peak of true divinity, and his strength was shocking. He wasn't any weaker than Lu Zhong back then. Lu Ming was immediately blocked, retreating again and again. Both sides were locked in a fierce battle. Father, stop it, stop it. At this moment, Gu Xing also flew over and shouted loudly. Xing go to the side. This has nothing to do with you. Gu Xiong shouted coldly. Father, stop it. Those are our people. Our ancient god's descendants don't have many people to begin with. If this continues, I'm afraid our clan will be exterminated. Gu Xing shouted. Nonsense. As long as I condense the ancient god's heart, I will definitely lead our clan to glory. Their sacrifice will be worth it. Gu Xiong roared, his eyes filled with madness. Father? Gu Xing's eyes were filled with disappointment. She gritted her teeth and rushed towards Gu Xiong. Xing, are you? Gu Xiong was slightly shocked when he saw Gu Xing rushing towards him. With such a shock, his speed was slightly slower. Gu Bo seized the opportunity and punched Gu Xiong's shoulder. Gu Xiong retreated and coughed out blood. Gu Xiong quickly closed the array. Don't be stubborn. Gu Bo shouted. At this moment, there were ancient gods' descendants dying in the array. His heart was bleeding. Impossible. Gu Xiong roared. If that's the case, don't blame me for being ruthless. Gu Bo charged at Gu Xiong. Humph, Gu Bo, do you think I don't know that you're trying to stop me today? You thought you were being discreet, but I've already seen through it. Come out. Gu Xiong smirked and waved his hand. Whoosh, whoosh. Suddenly, 2 streaks of rainbow light rushed out from not far away, flying towards Gu Bo with astonishing speed. Both of them were old men. One was an old man while the other was an old woman. They seemed to be as old as Gu Bo. Gu Shang, Gu Ling, it's you? Gu Bo was astounded. These two were on par with him. They were the other 2 elders among the descendants of the ancient god. There were 3 elders among the descendants of the ancient god. They were Gu Bo, Gu Shang, and Gu Ling. Kill. Gu Shang and Gu Ling charged at Gu Bo. Their cultivation was at the 3rd layer heaven god realm. Their strength was on par with Gu Bo's. Gu Bo was no match for them when they teamed up. He was sent flying with a single blow and vomited blood. Gu Shang, Gu Ling, what are you doing? Even you two are being bullied? Gu Bo yelled. However, Gu Shang and Gu Ling continued to charge at Gu Bo as if they did not hear him. Their attacks were filled with murderous intent. Aha, stop yelling. I've long controlled their minds. They are completely under my control. You won't be able to stop me today, ha. Gu Bo burst out laughing. He waved his hand and unleashed a god force, encapsulating Gu Xing and controlling her movements. At the same time he moved and charged toward Lu Ming and the rest. Crap. Lu Ming and the others were astounded. Two third-level celestial god experts suddenly appeared. Their strength had completely surpassed their side. They were definitely not a match for them. Lu Ming immediately backed away without hesitation. However, Gu Xiong had long noticed him. He harumphed coldly and waved his hand. A giant palm print slammed down at Lu Ming. A terrifying aura locked onto Lu Ming. Lu Ming had nowhere to run. However, Lu Ming would not surrender. He would not sit still and wait for his death. World-extinguishing 3 strikes, moon slashing. Lu Ming let out a low roar and unleashed all his strength, turning it into a shocking spear ray that attacked the palm print. At the same time, 9 icy chains pierced at the palm print like 9 silver divine spears. Bang! Bang! A series of explosions were heard as the mountain-like spear ray slammed into the palm print, triggering a violent energy. However, Gu Xiong's palm print was too powerful. The abundant energy burst out and shattered Lu Ming's spear ray. Even the 9 icy chains were shattered. However, the icy chains were only a secret technique. They could be reformed after being shattered. Bang! Lu Ming was struck by the palm print and slammed heavily onto the ground. He spat out mouthfuls of blood. Many of his bones were broken. He was severely injured from the attack. Not dead. Gu Xiong was slightly startled. Although the attack was just a casual attack, it was still effective against a first-layer true god. He was extremely surprised. Chapter 2782. Patriarch, don't kill him. It's too easy on him if you kill him directly. I want to throw him into the array and watch him die a miserable death. The great elder called out with a ferocious look in his eyes. Because of Lu Ming, his son had died in the array and his flesh and blood had been melted. He wanted Lu Ming to die in the array as well. Only then would he be able to vent the hatred in his heart. All right, let's send him into the great formation then. Gu Xiong nodded. With a wave of his hand, a powerful force gushed out. With a push from this force, Lu Ming flew directly into the array. Back again? Lu Ming was speechless. He gathered his god force to resist the blood-red mist outside. However, due to the great battle outside, no one was controlling the array. The array's operation was slower and the mist was not dense. Therefore, the number of ancient god descendants who died was not high. After sending Lu Ming into the array, Gu Xiong attacked the others. In front of Gu Xiong, the others were unable to resist at all. They were all suppressed by Gu Xiong and sent into the array. Since they wanted to resist him, he would turn them into blood to nourish the ancient god flower and fulfill his ancient god heart. The people Gu Bo had brought with him were wiped out. Gu Xing was controlled by Gu Bo and could not move. Her face was filled with disappointment and anxiety. At this moment, Gu Bo himself was in great danger. He was no match for 2 experts at the same level as him. He was injured and would not be able to hold on for much longer. Gu Bo, let's go in together. Gu Xiong said coldly and attacked Gu Bo personally. Gu Bo was already no match for Gu Xiong, and with Gu Xiong, it was even harder for him to resist. In just a few moves he was struck by Gu Xiong and suffered heavy injuries. Bang! Bang! Gu Xiong and Gu Ling attacked Gu Bo from the front and back. Gu Bo's divine body almost exploded and his injuries worsened. He no longer had the strength to fight back. Gu Bo, go in. Gu Xiong said coldly. Boundless God Force suppressed Gu Bo and sent him into the array. In this way Gu Bo and the others were annihilated. Grandpa Gu Bo, father, don't! Gu Xing screamed. Shut up. What I'm doing is a major matter of reviving the descendants of the ancient gods. What do you know? Gu Xiong shouted coldly. With a flash of his body he returned to the altar. Continue operating the formation. Gu Xiong ordered. Activate the formation. The first elder and the others appeared on the cliffs in the 8 directions, controlling the formation. Within the formation, dazzling runes filled the air, and the blood-red mist rapidly increased. More and more descendants of the ancient gods began to fall. Ah, Gu Xiong, you'll die a horrible death. You've lost your mind for your own selfish reasons. Many of the ancient gods' descendants cursed. However, Gu Xiong's expression was calm and unmoved. As the descendants of the ancient gods continued to fall, their flesh and blood seeped into the ground and were absorbed by the ancient god flower. The ancient god flower became even more alluring and plump. The ancient god flowers that covered the whole mountain emitted a rich fragrance. It's time. A look of anticipation flashed across Gu Xiong's eyes. His hands quickly formed seals as runes entered the altar beneath his feet. The altar emitted a resplendent radiance as runes extended out like tentacles, fusing with the entire array. At this moment, the entire 8 valleys converged and all the ancient god flowers emitted wisps of blood-red energy. They were like blood-red threads that converged towards Gu Xiong. Gu Xiong was instantly surrounded by a layer of blood-red energy. It's coming, it's coming. Aha, I'm going to condense the heart of the ancient god. Gu Xiong was ecstatic. They were called descendants of the ancient gods, but in fact the ancient god bloodline in their bodies was extremely thin and their potential was very limited. However, once they condensed the heart of the ancient god, it would be different. Their potential would be limitless and their future growth would be astonishing. Sigh, it's still hard to stop it? Gu Bo sighed helplessly. Haha, the heavens are on my side. No, the heavens are on your side, kid. At this moment, Gu Mo was laughing in his sea of consciousness. He was extremely excited. Now that it's over, you're still laughing so happily. Lu Ming was speechless. Nonsense. Brat, your great opportunity has arrived. Gu Mo laughed. Opportunity? What opportunity? Lu Ming asked. Those idiots. If they killed you outside the formation, I wouldn't be able to do anything, but they thought they were smart and sent you into the formation. Then I have a way. Gu Mo laughed. What way? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Don't you have the quantifier formula? Let the quantifier formula compete with the clan leader for the energy of the ancient god flower and attract all the energy of the ancient god flower. I have a way to make the energy belong to you and help you condense the heart of the ancient god. Gu Mo said. That works? Lu Ming was overjoyed. It should work. I can attract all the energy outside. The voice of the quantifier formula sounded. Then won't all these people of the ancient god clan die? Lu Ming frowned. No need. As long as the quantifier formula absorbs the energy outside and competes with the clan leader will suffer a backlash and the formation will stop. Don't worry. In fact, the energy of the ancient god flower is enough to condense the heart of the ancient god. It's just that the clan leader is too greedy. Gu Mo said. Well, there's no time to lose. Let's get started. Lu Ming said hurriedly. Watch me. The quantifier formula gave out a dazzling light. Even Lu Ming's glabella was filled with a layer of light. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, a terrifying attractive force was generated. The energy that was gathering toward Gu Xiong suddenly changed direction and gathered toward Lu Ming. All of them poured into Lu Ming's glabella and entered the quantifier formula. However, it was not refined this time. After the quantifier formula, it immediately spread out and poured into Lu Ming's body. Condense? Gu Mo made a move. He condensed a magical seal and guided the energy to gather toward Lu Ming's heart. What's going on? What's going on? At this moment, Gu Xiong roared angrily. The energy of the ancient god flower kept gathering toward him. He had a feeling that the heart of the ancient god would be condensed soon. However, all of a sudden, the energy outside changed its direction and converged toward Lu Ming. What frightened him was that he had merged with the formation at this moment. He had no control over his body. The energy he had absorbed just now, and even his own energy, kept pouring out and rushing toward Lu Ming. This kid, damn it, stop it. Gu Xiong roared angrily. What's going on? The others were also baffled, unable to make heads or tails of it. Absorb, I'll absorb. The quantifier formula worked hard to absorb the energy outside. The energy in the ancient god flower kept gathering toward Lu Ming, including Gu Xiong's. Chapter 2783. Gu Xiong suffered a backlash. The blood-colored mist in the formation did not continue to become denser. Instead, it slowly thinned. Damn it, little bastard, what did you do? Stop it. Stop it. Gu Xiong roared crazily. He was going crazy. Originally, the energy he absorbed from the ancient god flower had all been absorbed by Lu Ming. Even his own energy, blood essence, and blood had turned into wisps of blood qi and were absorbed by Lu Ming. His essence qi was being severely depleted, and his body was rapidly shriveling. This made him extremely terrified. At this moment, there was a scarlet light shining in Lu Ming's heart. From the measure character formula, energy was constantly flowing and gathering in his heart. Lu Ming was about to condense the ancient god heart. On the ground, the ancient god flowers that covered the mountains and plains were also shriveling. This is a backlash. Gu Bo's eyes lit up as if he had seen something. He was very surprised. This way, at least the descendants of the ancient god race would not have to be buried with him. Close the formation, quickly close the formation. Gu Xiong roared. The Great Elder and the others quickly closed the formation. The formation's light barrier disappeared, and the blood-colored mist also disappeared. However, Gu Xiong did not obtain freedom. He was completely restrained, fused with the formation. As long as the measure character formula did not let go, he would not obtain freedom. Damn it, kill that kid. Gu Xiong roared. Kill? The Great Elder and the others charged towards Lu Ming. Don't even think about it. Everyone attack together, stop them. Gu Bo roared. Attack. The formation disappeared, and those who were originally trapped in the formation could naturally attack. They furiously attacked the Great Elder and the others. They had a lot of people, and all of them attacked together, blocking the attacks of the Great Elder and the others. Kill? Gu Shang and Gu Ling were controlled, and they completely obeyed Gu Xiong's orders. They also charged towards Lu Ming. Stop the two of them together. Gu Bo mustered up his remaining strength, and led a few Heavenly God Realm Elders to attack Gu Shang and Gu Ling. Both sides began a great battle. Although Gu Bo and the others were at a disadvantage, they managed to delay their movements. What are you doing? Gu Bo, you're treacherous. I'm going to lead the descendants of the ancient gods to glory. Why are you stopping me? You're treacherous and betraying your ancestors. Gu Xiong cursed like a mad dog. Gu Xiong, you've already gone completely insane. For your own selfish reasons, you're willing to sacrifice so many of our clansmen to fulfill your wish. You're the one who's rebelling, you're the one who's betraying your ancestors. Gu Bo shouted coldly. But Gu Xiong did not seem to hear it and just kept cursing. At that moment, his body had already shriveled up. He had turned into a bag of bones, resembling a skeleton. His essence chi and essence blood had almost been completely absorbed. Even if the quantifying character formula stopped now, he was already a cripple. This was because the divine flame in his body had been completely extinguished. At the same time, the ancient divine flowers all over the mountain also completely withered. All the energy was absorbed by the quantifying formula and poured into Lu Ming's body. Heart of the ancient god, condense. In Lu Ming's sea of consciousness, Gu Mo shouted loudly. Lu Ming's heart had completely changed. It was filled with a dazzling red color and was also filled with boundless energy beating non-stop. Whoosh whoosh. Suddenly, a surge of extremely pure chi and blood gushed out from his heart. In an instant, it seeped into the depths of Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's divine body was rapidly transforming and improving at a shocking speed. The heart of the ancient god was successfully condensed. The moment the heart of the ancient god was successfully condensed, Lu Ming seemed to hear a loud roar coming from his heart as if it came from ancient times. It was as if he was looking at an incomparably huge ancient god rampaging through the universe. With a single punch, it could cause a planet to explode. At that moment, not only was Lu Ming's divine body improving rapidly, but even his cultivation was also rapidly improving. He was approaching the peak of the first-level true god realm at a shocking speed. Soon, his cultivation reached the peak of the first-level true god realm. Boom. A rumble erupted from his body. His cultivation had successfully broken through to the second-level true god realm. Furthermore, he was rapidly charging towards the peak of the second-level true god realm. Why? On the altar, Gu Xiong let out a miserable scream. He knew that he had been completely defeated. He had already become a cripple, his breath hanging by a thread. The moment Gu Xiong was crippled, Gu Shang and Gu Ling's bodies shook violently and suddenly stopped. Originally their eyes were blank, but at this moment intelligence appeared. Gu Bo, stop. Gu Shang roared loudly. Gu Bo stopped and said joyfully, Gu Shang, you've recovered? I've recovered. Gu Shang nodded. His gaze swept the surroundings and he sighed, Fortunately, I almost made a big mistake. Gu Xiong and Gu Luo. Gu Ling's gaze swept over the first elder and the rest extremely coldly. Her figure moved, rushing towards the first elder and smashing a palm down. Not good. The first elder was alarmed and hastily blocked, but how could he be Gu Ling's opponent? He was directly suppressed by a palm, vomiting large mouthfuls of blood. Gu Bo, Gu Shang and the rest also charged over. The people following Gu Xiong were instantly suppressed. Why is it like this? The first elder was at a loss. In the end, his gaze fell on Lu Ming. At this moment, Lu Ming's body was blood red, and a wave of majesty was emitting from him. This majesty made all the ancient god descendants feel apprehensive. This was a suppression of bloodline. This meant that Lu Ming's bloodline was much denser than theirs. The ancient god's heart, he actually condensed the ancient god's heart. Gu Xiang muttered to himself, filled with shock. It really is the ancient god's heart. I really didn't expect that after Gu Xiong's scheming, it would end up being a wedding dress for someone else's disciple, said Gu Bo with a smile. However, this kind of ending was already the best ending. The crisis of the ancient god descendants had finally passed. At this moment, Lu Ming's aura slowly stabilized, and the energy fluctuation on his body also disappeared. What a pity I was just a little bit away from reaching the third-level true god realm. Lu Ming sighed. His cultivation was now at the peak second-level true god realm. Kid, you're still not satisfied after obtaining such a great opportunity. Most of the ancient god flower's energy was used to condense the ancient god's heart. Your cultivation has only increased a little. Moreover, your divine body has also improved by several times. You should be satisfied. Guillemot said. Senior, what's the use of the ancient god's heart? Lu Ming asked. Condensing the ancient god's heart has already allowed you to possess a dense ancient god bloodline. The ancient god's heart will automatically absorb external energy to strengthen your divine body. In the future, even if you don't cultivate, your divine body will continue to grow stronger. Do you understand? Guillemot said. You can grow stronger without cultivating? Lu Ming was dumbfounded. This ability was really heaven-defying. Chapter 2784. After knowing the function of the ancient god's heart, Lu Ming's heart was burning. If his divine body continued to strengthen, would he become as strong as the ancient god in the future? Brat, I have another piece of good news for you. Just now, I was constantly absorbing energy. There's still a lot of energy left in my body. Once I've refined it, I'll transfer it to you. Your cultivation will increase by another level. The quantifying formula said. Really? Lu Ming was about to laugh out loud. This time, although the process was very dangerous, the harvest was also very shocking. His cultivation had increased to the second level of true god realm, and he had condensed the ancient god's heart. His divine body was also several times stronger than before. With the current strength of his divine body, it was enough for him to cultivate the battle formula to increase his combat strength by 4 times. What a great reward. After calming himself down, Lu Ming looked around and finally fixed his gaze on the Great Elder. At this moment, the Great Elder was staring at Lu Ming with hatred. You don't have to look at me like that. Speaking of which, I have to thank you. If you didn't want to send me into the array, I wouldn't have been able to condense the ancient god's heart. Lu Ming smiled faintly. The Great Elder was so angry that he almost vomited blood. He regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. Previously, Gu Xiong wanted to kill Lu Ming. He was the one who wanted to send Lu Ming into the array. He didn't expect that he would help Lu Ming and ruin their plan. Gu Xiong almost died from anger. He regretted not killing Lu Ming. If he had killed Lu Ming, it would have been great. He would have been the one to condense the ancient god's heart. However, there was no medicine for regret in this world. It was too late to regret now. Rumble. At this moment, there was a sudden change. The place where the 8 valleys converged, along with the 8 valleys, suddenly trembled violently, and the earth shook violently. The ancient god flowers that covered the mountains had already withered. At this moment, the ancient god flowers turned into ashes and dissipated. However, the ground emitted a dazzling light. What's going on? What's going on? Many of the descendants of the ancient gods began to shout. Even Gu Xiong, Gu Bo, and the others were at a loss, not knowing what was going on. The trembling of the ground grew stronger, and the glow on the ground grew brighter. In fact, an incomparably terrifying aura burst out. It was filled with an ancient and majestic aura. The crowd felt as if a huge mountain was pressing down on them. Some of them even felt like vomiting blood. Retreat. Gu Bo roared and ordered the descendants of the ancient gods to retreat. Only after retreating far away did the pressure lessen. Senior Gu Bo, what's going on? Lu Ming stood beside Gu Bo and asked curiously. I don't know. The 8 Valleys Convergence Ground is a sacred place for the descendants of the ancient gods. Throughout history, they have always offered sacrifices to their ancestors here. However, this has never happened before. Gu Bo frowned. He had lived for a long time, but this was the first time he had encountered such a situation. Boom, boom. The 8 Valleys Convergence Ground shook more and more violently. In the end, a huge beam of light shot up to the sky. Originally, there was a mysterious formation around the ancient god's mountain that shrouded it. This was also the reason why the ancient god's mountain could not be found by outsiders. However, at this moment, The beam of light shot up to the sky and broke the formation that shrouded the ancient god's mountain. Once the formation was broken, the ancient god's mountain was exposed. As for the light barrier, it shot straight into outer space. The beam of light was too bright. Even those standing on another planet outside the ancient god planet could see the beam of light, let alone the ancient god planet itself. At least half of the people on the ancient god planet saw the beam of light. Countless people looked in its direction. What is that? What a terrifying movement. Could it be that a peerless treasure has appeared? Let's go and have a look. In a flash, many people rushed towards the direction of the ancient god's mountain. At this moment, Lu Ming and the others were dumbfounded. This was because at the Light Valley Convergence ground, a huge door slowly appeared. It was a huge bronze door that was tens of thousands of feet tall. It stood between heaven and earth, and there were ancient deities carved on it. Could this be the legendary ancient god door? Gu Bo seemed to have thought of something and roared in shock. His old body was trembling with excitement. Ancient god door. It must be the ancient god door. According to the legends, it is the ancient god door that leads to the ancient god world. I didn't expect the ancient god door to be hidden in the Eight Valleys Convergence ground. Gu Shang and Gu Ling also shouted in excitement. Their eyes shone with a burning light. There was an ancient legend among the descendants of the ancient gods. According to the legend, the ancient god door led to the ancient god world. If one had the chance to enter the ancient god world, he would have the chance to become an ancient god and be invincible. How could they not be moved? The ancient god door that leads to the ancient god world? Lu Ming was shocked when he heard it. When the ancient god door appeared, it stood between heaven and earth, emitting a dazzling light. The ancient god door was made up of two bronze doors that were tightly shut. However, as time passed, the light on the ancient god door dimmed. In the end, the light disappeared, leaving only the bronze doors standing between heaven and earth. That vast oppressive aura also disappeared. Let's go and take a look. Gu Bo, Gu Shang, Gu Ling and the others could not stay calm. They rushed towards the ancient god door. The other descendants of the ancient gods followed closely behind, leaving only a few people to guard the first elder and the others. Crack, crack. At this moment, Qiuqiu, who had been in the form of a bracelet on Lu Ming's wrist, turned into a round ball and floated in the air. A pair of eyes appeared on its eyeballs, staring at the ancient god door. Its big mouth opened and closed in excitement. Little guy, what are you trying to do? Lu Ming was curious. Crack, crack. Qiuqiu's big mouth opened and closed continuously. Its eyes were filled with greed as it stared at the ancient god door. You can't be thinking of eating that bronze door, right? Lu Ming speechlessly asked. He hadn't expected Qiuqiu to repeatedly nod. Lu Ming's forehead was covered in cold sweat. Little guy, don't act rashly. Lu Ming softly warned as he flew towards the ancient god door with Qiuqiu. Gu Bo and the others had already landed below the ancient god door. The ancient god door was too big. It was tens of thousands of meters tall and several thousand meters wide. When they stood below it, they were as small as ants. Gu Bo and the others tried to push the ancient god door, wanting to open it. However, it was like an ant trying to shake a tree. The ancient god door didn't budge. In the end, almost all the descendants of the ancient gods joined hands to push the ancient god door, but the result didn't change at all. Lu Ming also joined in, but it was also useless. Little guy, don't waste your time. This door is incomparably ancient and heavy. Moreover, there's a grand formation inscribed on it. You won't be able to open it, said Guillermo. Chapter 2785. Lu Ming smiled bitterly and shook his head. He retreated a distance and did not continue to attack. Qiuqiu tried to rush out several times but was stopped by Lu Ming. After all, there were so many descendants of the ancient gods present and he was afraid that Qiuqiu would cause a ruckus. Gu Bo and the rest tried all kinds of methods but to no avail. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. At this moment, there were rays of light flying over from afar. It was as though there was a meteor shower in the sky. It was a spectacular sight. The rest of the people on the ancient god planet had finally arrived. Is this the ancient god's mountain? Didn't our territorial master go to look for the ancient god's mountain? Why did the ancient god's mountain appear on its own? What a big door. What's that? Let's go and take a look. One by one, they flew towards the ancient god's mountain and the bronze door. Get lost. Gu Bo shouted angrily. The aura of the heavenly god realm spread out and shocked these people and they retreated. The ancient god planet was occupied by the territorial masters. The highest cultivation level of the territorial masters was peak true god, and most of them had fallen in the ancient god's mountain. Among these people, the highest cultivation level was not higher than rank 6 true god. Under the pressure of Gu Bo's aura, they naturally did not dare to act rashly. However, as time passed, more and more people came. The sky was densely packed and the number was immeasurable. Gu Bo sighed. With so many people, even if his cultivation level was high, he could not suppress them. Moreover, the news would spread quickly. When the major forces of the Qingtian star field arrived, they would be even more powerless. In fact, the news had already spread. On the ancient god planet, there were not only natives but also disciples from the Qingtian 13 sects like Lu Ming who had come to the ancient god planet to gain experience. They had already spread the news of the changes in the ancient god planet and the bronze door. "Elder, what should we do now?" someone asked Gu Bo and the rest. Now that the ancient god's mountain had been completely occupied by others, there were people everywhere and they could no longer suppress the situation. "Let's leave this place and find another place to stay. This place is no longer suitable for living." Gu Bo sighed helplessly. The other ancient god descendants were also helpless. However, they knew that this place wasn't suitable for living. When the powerful forces of the Qingtian star field arrived, they wouldn't be able to protect the ancient god's mountain. If they weren't careful, they might even be exterminated. "Let's go, little friend Lu Ming. We're leaving. Take care of yourself." Gu Bo cupped his fists towards Lu Ming. "Take care." Lu Ming nodded. "Lu Ming, let's meet again if we have the chance." Gu Xing also came over to say goodbye. Although Lu Ming had brought Gu Xiong to the brink of death, Gu Xing didn't blame Lu Ming. She knew that Gu Xiong had only himself to blame for all of this. Not to mention, Lu Ming had saved most of the ancient god's descendants. "Take care. We'll meet again if there's a chance." Lu Ming smiled faintly. After that, the descendants of the ancient gods all left and disappeared into the horizon. As soon as the ancient god descendants left, the crowd immediately flew towards the ancient god gate, wanting to open it. Of course, the ancient god gate wasn't something that could be opened with a large number of people. The crowd couldn't open it even after expending a tremendous amount of effort. At this time, Lu Ming also quietly approached the ancient god gate. "Little guy, do whatever you want, but be careful," Lu Ming warned Qiuqiu. Crack. Qiuqiu darted out, opened its mouth wide and actually bit down on the bronze door. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat as he watched nervously. Creak, creak. Qiuqiu fiercely bit on the bronze gate, letting out an ear-piercing sound. Boom. The gate shuddered violently as a terrifying aura burst out from it. What's going on? Nestle. Many people were directly sent flying by this pressure. Not good. Lu Ming's expression also changed. Qiuqiu bit down even harder, biting with all its might. Its sharp teeth actually managed to bite into the bronze door. Creak. At this time, strands of lightning spread out from the bronze gate, emitting a terrifying energy fluctuation. Not good, Qiuqiu, quickly retreat. Lu Ming hurriedly shouted. Because those strands of lightning were spreading towards Qiuqiu. Crack. Qiuqiu exerted all its strength and bit off a small piece of bronze. It then frantically retreated, but it was already too late. A strand of lightning struck Qiuqiu's body, and Qiuqiu was directly sent flying. Qiuqiu. Lu Ming was greatly alarmed, and chased in the direction that Qiuqiu was sent flying. He saw Qiuqiu heavily smashing into the ground and no longer moving. Lu Ming's heart was beating wildly and he hurriedly ran over, only to find that Qiuqiu's body was completely black as if it had been burnt. Lu Ming's heart sank. But in the next moment, Qiuqiu's round body rolled twice, and that big mouth appeared again and crunched a few times. This guy was fine. Lu Ming was relieved. This guy, you're willing to throw away your life for food. Lu Ming picked up Qiuqiu and scolded with a smile. Qiuqiu turned into a bracelet and wrapped itself around Lu Ming's wrist. Its aura was very weak, and Qiuqiu had indeed been heavily injured after being struck by the bronze gate's lightning. Let's leave first. Lu Ming thought to himself because there were already quite a few people looking at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's figure flickered, and he left the ancient god's mountain, arriving at a large mountain more than 100,000 miles away to observe the changes in the ancient god's mountain. More and more people gathered around the ancient god's mountain. A few days later, a big shot indeed arrived. The Qin Heavenly 13 sects was the closest sect, and a terrifying figure had arrived. This person was shrouded in divine light, and emitted an incomparably terrifying pressure. Everyone was suppressed by this pressure, and they all frantically retreated, leaving the bronze gate. That figure stood alone in front of the bronze gate. Boom. That figure suddenly made his move. A terrifying divine light blasted towards the bronze gate, wanting to blast it open. Boom. Above the bronze gate there was a violent explosion, but after the explosion the bronze gate still didn't budge. "Open for me," that figure shouted loudly. His aura was like a rainbow, and his divine power burned like flames. An even more terrifying aura erupted. Many people's bodies shook and they vomited blood. They were almost crushed to death. "Retreat, retreat. Quickly retreat." Countless people frantically retreated, terrified. What a terrifying aura. Even though he was more than 100,000 miles away, Lu Ming could feel an incomparably terrifying pressure pressing down on him. He could only retreat 100,000 miles before he felt better. "Kid, that's a divine king," Guo said indifferently. "It's really a divine king." Lu Ming sucked in a breath of cold air. This was the first time he had seen a divine king make a move. The power was truly earth-shattering, and it was incomparably terrifying. If a heavenly god was an expert of the Qin heavenly star field, then a divine king was definitely an overlord of the Qin heavenly star field. Chapter 2786. A god king was much stronger than a heavenly god. When a god king raged, a planet would explode. Legend had it that a battle between multiple god kings could even destroy a massive planet with life. One could imagine how terrifying a god king was. Countless people stood in the distant void, watching the ancient god mountain from afar. Boom. That divine king attacked again, bombarding the bronze gate. Rumble. The bronze gate emitted a dazzling light, blocking the god king's attack. However, it also caused a terrifying tremor. Lu Ming and the others stood in the void, watching the ground of the ancient god planet tremble. Cracks even appeared on the ground, spreading into the distance. Countless people were shocked by the power of the god king. They instinctively retreated a distance, watching from afar. Boom. Boom. That god king kept retreating, but it was useless. He couldn't open the bronze gate. The bronze gate even emitted bolts of lightning that were as thick as mountains. They struck the god king, forcing him to retreat. What terrifying power! Seeing the power of the lightning, Lu Ming felt a lingering fear. The lightning that attacked Qiuqiu before didn't even have 1/10,000th of this power. Otherwise, no matter how strong Qiuqiu's vitality was, it would only end up turning into ashes. "It seems like you can't do it alone." A voice came from the distant starry sky. When this voice first sounded, it was still in the starry sky outside the atmosphere of the ancient god planet. However, when the voice faded, a figure appeared near that god king. The aura that this figure emitted was also terrifying. Without a doubt, this was also a god king expert. "You might not be able to open it." The god king snorted. "You'll know if you try." The god king behind him said coldly and also attacked the ancient god gate. Terrifying tremors erupted, but the result was the same as before. The god kings behind him couldn't open the ancient god gate. As time passed, more and more experts descended upon this place. The important figures of the Qin heavenly 13 sects arrived one after another. Even god kings kept arriving. Later on, the important figures of the three overlords and the Kongshen school sects all sent god kings. Later on, even the Ice Soul race and the Scarlet Flame race sent important figures. Clearly, the appearance of the ancient god sect had completely alarmed the Qin Tian starfield. However, even with so many forces and so many experts, after many attempts, they still could not break open the door of the ancient god and enter the world behind it. "There's a grand formation here. Only experts proficient in grand formations can open it." A god king spoke. Soon after, the news spread, and the experts from the Qin Tian starfield who were proficient in formations also rushed over. "This formation is very complicated. It will take at least several decades to over 100 years to break it open." Finally, a formation master came to a conclusion. "It still needs so many years. It seems that it will be impossible to open the bronze gate in a short period of time. I thought there would be a good show to watch. Let's come again in the future." Many people shook their heads and left the ancient god planet. "It's time for me to leave. This trip can be considered a complete success." Lu Ming pondered for a while. Then he left the ancient god planet and headed for the Kongshen school. After a long journey, Lu Ming returned to the Kongshen school. By now, the news of the ancient god planet had spread throughout the Qin Tian starfield. Many people in the Kongshen school were discussing this matter. However, as time passed, the door still did not open, and the popularity slowly died down. In the Kangxian school, the discussion was more about the intersect grand competition. There were many outer and inner disciples in the Kangxian school. Therefore, the intersect grand competition would be held every once in a while. As long as one showed off their skills in the intersect grand competition, not only would they be famous, but they would also be rewarded handsomely. The intersect grand competition would be held in 3 years. Many people were already rubbing their palms together, eager to give it a try. However, Lu Ming was not interested in it at all. During this trip to the ancient god planet, a large group of territorial lords had died at his hands. Their storage rings had all fallen into Lu Ming's hands. Lu Ming had obtained a large number of treasures and divine gems. Therefore, Lu Ming did not care about the rewards of the intersect grand competition. If he had the time, he might as well cultivate. When he returned to his courtyard, he did not see Autumn Moon. Lu Ming guessed that Autumn Moon must be cultivating in the Divine Vein Tower or some other place. Lu Ming sat cross-legged in the courtyard, quietly comprehending the battle character formula. Now that his divine body had improved by several times, the battle character formula could increase his combat strength by 4 times. He could already cultivate. As expected, once his divine body improved, his comprehension of the battle character formula came naturally. Not long after, Lu Ming successfully broke through the bottleneck and cultivated his combat strength by 4 times. Boom! Lu Ming's body emitted a strong battle intent. His body contained a terrifying amount of energy. 4 times combat strength. Lu Ming's eyes shone brightly. Right now, his cultivation base was at the peak of the 2nd level of the True God realm. If he could increase his combat strength by 4 times, he would definitely be able to defeat or even kill an opponent like Lu Zhong. Unfortunately, the chance of triggering 4 times combat strength is still not high. Lu Ming pondered. After his breakthrough, Lu Ming had researched it and found that the chance of triggering 4 times combat strength was only a few tens of %. He would need to trigger it dozens of times before he could succeed. However, Lu Ming was filled with confidence. As his comprehension of the battle character formula deepened, the chance of triggering 4 times combat strength would naturally increase. It would be the same as 2 times or 3 times combat strength, reaching 100% success rate. Someone's coming. Lu Ming ended his cultivation. Suddenly his expression changed. He sensed that someone was flying toward his courtyard. Lu Ming opened the courtyard's door and walked out. He saw 5 figures flying over. Wu Zifeng, Yu Linglong. 2 of them were Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong. As for Wu Zifeng and Yu Linglong, there were 3 other people that Lu Ming did not recognize. Among the 3, there was clearly a young woman leading them. This woman was extremely beautiful. She could be said to be devastatingly beautiful. This woman, Lu Ming's heart shook. This woman's appearance was somewhat similar to Yu Xian's. Behind the woman were 2 young men. They were like flower escorts, protecting the young woman. Lu Ming, you finally returned from outside. Yu Linglong smiled and asked. I just returned. Do you need something from me? Lu Ming smiled. My cousin is looking for you. So when we heard that you've returned, we came to find you. Yu Linglong smiled. Your cousin? Lu Ming looked at the young woman. Unfathomable. This was Lu Ming's first impression of this young woman. This young woman's cultivation was unfathomable. Lu Ming was completely unable to see through her. Come, let me introduce you. This is my expression Ouyang Qingxiang. She is my aunt Yu Xian's daughter. Yu Linglong said. She really is Yu Xian's daughter. Lu Ming's heart shook. When he saw Ouyang Qingxiang, Lu Ming felt that she was somewhat similar to Yu Xian. When Yu Linglong said that she was her cousin, Lu Ming had such a guess. Chapter 2787. Let me tell you something else. My cousin is the saintess of the Kangxian school. Yu Linglong smiled. Saintess? This time Lu Ming was really surprised. The Kangxian school had a total of 5 saints and 2 saintesses, all of whom were qualified to compete for the position of the patriarch. Unexpectedly, Ouyang Qingxiang in front of him was one of the 2 saintesses. Saintess Ouyang, it's an honor to meet you. Lu Ming clasped his fist and greeted. I've also heard of your name, Lu Ming. You entered the Kangxian school as the first place in the Qin Tian 13 sex assessment. When you entered the Kangxian school, your cultivation was only at the demigod realm. However, in just a few decades, you stepped into the true god realm and became an inner disciple. This cultivation speed is really shocking. Ouyang Qingxiang smiled. I was just lucky, just lucky. Lu Ming said a few modest words and changed the topic. I wonder why Saintess Ouyang is looking for me? I won't beat around the bush. I'm here to invite you to join my faction. What do you think? Ouyang Qingxiang said. As expected, Lu Ming curled his lips slightly. Ouyang Qingxiang really came to invite him to join her faction. However, Saintess Ouyang Qingxiang came personally. Her sincerity was not bad. Unfortunately, Lu Ming did not plan to join any faction. He also did not want to listen to others' orders. Saintess Ouyang, I'm afraid I have to disappoint you. I don't plan to join any faction for the time being. Lu Ming said. Don't want to join? Lu Ming, you have to think about it carefully. Saintess Ouyang was slightly stunned. She obviously did not expect that Lu Ming would reject her personally. That's right. Lu Ming, you have to think about it carefully. My cousin is such a beauty and she's still single. Yu Linglong whispered as she winked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming speechlessly touched his nose and shook his head. Lu Ming appreciates Saintess Ouyang's good intentions, but Lu Ming really doesn't intend to join any faction. Brat, don't be ungrateful. The Holy Maiden has personally come to invite you. She has already given you a lot of face. Yet you have repeatedly rejected her. You really don't know what you're talking about. That's right. Does this brat not know his situation? Both the Great Heaven faction and Floating Light faction want to kill you. Do you know that our Saintess is inviting you at the risk of falling out with the Great Heaven faction and Floating Light faction? Do you understand? The two youths behind Ouyang Qingxiang couldn't bear it any longer and loudly berated. Both of you shut up. Ouyang Qingxiang scolded, making the two youths shut up obediently. Lu Ming, if you don't want to agree, I won't make things difficult for you. Goodbye. Ouyang Qingxiang cupped her fists and said. Wait. At this moment, Lu Ming suddenly called out to Ouyang Qingxiang. Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes lit up, thinking that Lu Ming had changed his mind. Saintess Ouyang, although Lu Ming doesn't intend to join your faction, it's still possible if we work together. Lu Ming said. Work together? Ouyang Qingxiang was slightly stunned. That's right. Work together, let's work together. Lu Ming nodded his head once again. Brat. The two youths behind Ouyang Qingxiang couldn't hold back anymore. One of them shouted, Brat, who do you think you are? You dare to say that you want to work together with the Saintess? Do you really think you're some big shot? That's right. Our Saintess controls a faction with countless experts and countless resources. Who do you think you are? What qualifications do you have to work together with our Saintess? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror? Ridiculous, simply ridiculous. The two youths looked at Lu Ming with disdain and contempt. You two stop talking. Ouyang Qingxiang glanced at the two youths with dissatisfaction. Lu Ming smiled faintly, too lazy to bother with the two youths. He looked at Ouyang Qingxiang and said, Saintess Ouyang, think about it carefully. Lu Ming's expression was calm, full of confidence. Ouyang Qingxiang revealed a pondering look. However, the two youths couldn't take it anymore. Arrogant and conceited. I want to see what qualifications you have to be so confident. What qualifications do you have to talk about working together with the Saintess? One of the youths roared and stepped out. A powerful aura erupted from his body as he raised his hand. Vigorous divine force condensed into a giant hand and pressed down on Lu Ming. Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes flickered, but she didn't stop him. She also wanted to see how strong Lu Ming was. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng wanted to stop him, but it was too late. 7th level True God Realm. This youth's cultivation was at the 7th level True God Realm. Moreover, he was a genius with great battle strength. A giant hand pressed down on Lu Ming. Swoosh. Lu Ming pointed his finger and a gust of finger force, like a spear gleam, attacked the palm print. The palm was penetrated by the finger force and collapsed. The youth was shocked. He obviously didn't expect Lu Ming to break his move so easily. Take another move of mine. Divine Horn Dragon Seal. The youth roared and activated a divine skill to the extreme. He blasted it toward Lu Ming with great power. However, the youth's cultivation was at the 7th level True God Realm. No matter how strong his battle strength was, it was nothing in Lu Ming's eyes. Now it's my turn. Lu Ming's cold voice resounded. A long spear appeared and swept out. Boom. When the large seal formed by the youth collided with the spear, it emitted a dazzling light. Then it collapsed. The spear didn't stop and pressed down on the youth. Bam. The youth was sent flying by the spear and coughed out blood. This battle strength. Ouyang Qingxiang's beautiful eyes were filled with shock. Lu Ming's battle strength was completely out of her expectations. A 2nd level True God Realm could defeat a 7th level True God Realm Supreme Talent. Such battle strength was terrifying. This guy has become even stronger. Even though Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng knew how terrifying Lu Ming was, they couldn't help but sigh. The other youth behind Ouyang Qingxiang was almost scared to death. He stared at Lu Ming with a pale face. Do you want to try? Lu Ming looked at the youth and said coldly. The youth shuddered and broke out in cold sweat. How would he dare to step forward? His battle strength was almost on par with the previous youth. If he went up, he would be defeated by Lu Ming. Amazing, amazing. Brother Lu's battle strength is unparalleled. I have seen many geniuses, but I have never seen a supreme talent like Brother Lu. Ouyang Qingxiang exclaimed. Now, do I have the qualifications to cooperate with the Saintess? Lu Ming smiled. Of course I have the qualifications. If Brother Lu doesn't have the qualifications, then who does? Ouyang Qingxiang said. Although Lu Ming's current strength was strong, it wasn't in Ouyang Qingxiang's eyes. She valued Lu Ming's potential. With Lu Ming's talent, if he grew up, he would definitely have a place in the Kongshen school. It wasn't impossible for him to break through the heavenly god realm and become the 8th saint of the Kongshen school. Chapter 2788. However, I'm afraid that some of the supreme talents under your command will not be convinced and will object. Lu Ming said with a smile. Nakam, how could that be? Ouyang Qingxiang smiled and turned to look at the two youths. Her face darkened as she said, Why aren't the two of you apologizing to Brother Lu? Her voice was cold, and it naturally emanated a dignified aura. The two young men's expressions were ugly. They lowered their heads and walked toward Lu Ming. They bowed and said, We were blind previously. Please be magnanimous and don't stoop to our level. It doesn't matter. Lu Ming waved his hand and said, Saintess Ouyang, let's work together. I believe that you won't regret your decision today. I never regret my actions. Ouyang Qingxiang smiled. They chatted for a while before Ouyang Qingxiang took her leave. Lu Ming, you're getting more and more powerful. We're no match for you now. Yu Linglong pouted. Your cultivations have surprised me as well, Li Chia said with a smile. Lu Ming looked at Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng curiously. Their auras were extremely strong and they had clearly reached level 4 True God Realm. Back in the Yulong Mystery Realm, the two of them had just broken through to level 1 True God Realm. How many years had it been since then? The two of them had broken through to level 4 True God Realm. This cultivation speed was shocking. Lu Ming had the help of the quantifying character formula and a series of fortuitous encounters to reach his current cultivation level. He did not expect that Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng's cultivation speed was not any slower than his. Some time ago, Zifeng and I went back to his hometown and underwent devilish cultivation. We thought that we could surpass you. I didn't expect you to be so abnormal. Yu Linglong said helplessly. Lu Ming's eyes flashed. It seemed that Wu Zifeng's background was really not simple. By the way, Lu Ming, the Kongshen School's intersect competition is about to begin. Are you going to participate? Yu Linglong asked. No, I'm not interested. Lu Ming shook his head. That's a pity. If you were to participate, I reckon everyone would be shocked. Yu Linglong's face was filled with pity. Both sides chatted for a while. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng left. Lu Ming went back to his room and continued to cultivate. The Sky Xian Sect's grand competition could be considered a grand occasion for the Sky Xian Sect, as it was a competition between the 7 holy sons and holy daughters. Every faction had many outer and inner disciples. In the intersect competition, whichever faction had the upper hand and which faction was stronger would play a crucial role in the future development of that faction. Some new disciples would make a choice according to the strength of their faction. It would even affect the views of some of the higher-ups in the sect. It would also have a great impact on the future competition for the position of the sect master. All the major factions attached great importance to it. Therefore, in the past few years, the prodigies of the various factions who went out rushed back to the Kongshen school to strengthen themselves and wait for the intersect competition. The Tenho Seiko faction and Fuko Seiko faction also temporarily put Lu Ming's matter aside and focused on preparing for the Kongshen school's intersect competition. Lu Ming did not care about what was happening outside. He was focused on cultivating. Time flew by and 3 years passed in the blink of an eye. The intersect competition was about to begin. It was worth mentioning that in these 3 years, Lu Ming's cultivation had improved again and reached the level 3 True God Realm. When he was in the Ancient God's Mountain, Lu Ming had absorbed the energy of countless ancient god flowers and condensed the ancient god's heart. His cultivation had also increased to the peak level 2 True God realm and was just one step away from the level 3 True God realm. After 3 years of cultivation, his cultivation had finally improved a step, and his battle prowess had also increased by a notch. Of course, his divine body was constantly improving under the nourishment of the ancient god's heart. Although the speed was not fast, the effect would be shocking in the long run. The key was that he did not need to spend time cultivating and would naturally become stronger. This was the terrifying part of the ancient god's heart. At this time, Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng came to look for Lu Ming again. Lu Ming, are you really not going to participate in the intersect competition? Yu Linglong asked again. No, I'm not interested. Lu Ming shook his head. Then let's go and take a look. The experts from the 7 factions will all be there, and many experts on the True God ranking list will participate. It will be very intense. I wasn't even born in the previous intersect competition, Yu Linglong said. The Kangxian School's intersect competition was not held at a fixed interval. Sometimes it would be 10,000 years and sometimes it would be hundreds of thousands of years. The last intersect competition had been held more than 80,000 years ago. The True God ranking list? Lu Ming's eyes flickered. As the name suggested, the True God ranking was a list of the most powerful people in the True God realm. However, it was completely different from the Empty God ranking list. The Empty God ranking list was a list in the Kangxian School that listed the most powerful Empty God realm experts in the Kangxian School. The True God ranking list was not only limited to the Kangxian School but also the Qin-Tian 13 sects. On the True God ranking list, there were a total of 100 top experts in the True God realm from the Qin-Tian 13 sects. Without a doubt, this ranking list had a huge influence in the Qin-Tian Star Zone. Those who could be on the True God ranking list were the top experts in the True God realm. Lu Ming was also curious. How would his current combat strength compare to the top experts in the True God ranking list? Alright, let's go and take a look. Lu Ming nodded. Then he, Wu Zifeng, and Yu Linglong headed in the direction of the intersect competition. The intersect competition was located in between the outer and inner areas. There was a vast piece of land with a wide view. It was perfect for holding the intersect competition. In the middle of the open space there was a huge fighting ring. At that moment, the fighting ring was surrounded by people. Lu Ming and the rest flew over and blended into the crowd. They did not attract much attention. The Tianhong Saint is here. Suddenly someone called out. Everyone turned to look in the same direction. Lu Ming also looked over curiously. A group of people flew over. The leader was a young man in luxurious clothes. He had a noble aura and a confident smile on his face. It was as if he was in control of everything. The people around him were all elites. They were all supreme talents from the Tenho Seiko faction. Is this the Tianhong Saint? A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. Lezhong was from the Tenho Seiko faction. His feud with the Tenho Seiko faction was getting deeper. He felt that he would have to fight with the Tianhong Saint sooner or later. Fuko Seiko is here too. Suddenly someone shouted. Sure enough, another group of people flew over from another direction. The leader was a young man in a white shirt and pants. His long hair fluttered in the wind and he looked handsome. This person had an extraordinary aura. He was Fuko Seiko. The people beside Fuko Seiko were all supreme talents. Lu Ming saw Huang Wen among them. Chapter 2789. The Tenho Seiko faction and Fuko Seiko faction faced each other from a distance. Strong battle intent filled the air. Renina calmed. The grand competition hadn't started yet, but the atmosphere was already tense. Cousin is here. Yu Linglong shouted happily. Saintess Qingxiang is here. Then someone shouted. Everyone looked into the distance at the same time, especially the male disciples. Their eyes lit up. A group of people flew over from afar. Most of them were female disciples and only a few of them were male disciples. Many of the female disciples were outstanding beauties. No wonder many of the male disciples' eyes lit up. The person leading the group was Ouyang Qingxiang. Is that Saintess Qingxiang? She's indeed outstanding. She's so beautiful. She's really a peerless beauty. Many of the outer disciples had never seen Ouyang Qingxiang before, and their eyes lit up at this moment. The saint of Tianhong and Fuko Seiko also looked at Ouyang Qingxiang with burning flames in their eyes. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. More figures flew over from afar. The other saints and saintesses also arrived one by one. The saint of Jixia led the people from his faction. The Flaming Sky Saint Sun had led the Flaming Sky Saint Sun's faction here. The Saintess Xuetan also led the people from her faction. 6 of the 7 saints and saintesses from the Kongshan school arrived quickly. Without a doubt, they were all peerless geniuses with unfathomable strength. There's also the Paragon Saint. I wonder if he will come personally this time? It's hard to say. The Paragon Holy Sun is the strongest among all the Holy Sons. The Paragon Holy Sons faction is also the strongest among all the Holy Sons. The Paragon Holy Sun did not appear personally in the previous grand competition. I hope the Paragon Saint will appear personally. He's my idol. Many people were discussing. Among the 7 saints and saintesses from the Kongshan school, the Paragon Saint was undoubtedly the strongest. He was also the one who was most likely to inherit the position of the sect leader in the future. Therefore, the Paragon Saint's faction was also the most powerful. In the previous sect grand competition, the Paragon Saint did not appear, but the Paragon Saint's faction still came out on top, suppressing the factions of the other saints and saintesses. Look, the Paragon Saint's people are here. Someone shouted. A group of people flew over from the north. There were many of them, far more than the other saints' sons and saintesses. That is the Paragon Saint? It really is the Paragon Saint. The Paragon Saint has personally appeared. Someone cried out in surprise and excitement. Paragon Saint. Lu Ming's gaze also looked over. A large group of people flew over, but Lu Ming noticed a young man in the middle with a glance. The young man was tall and sturdy. His eyes were like stars and his face was chiseled like a knife. He was full of dignity and had an aura of supremacy. Needless to say, Lu Ming knew that this person must be the Paragon Saint. When the Paragon Saint arrived, the Tianhong Saint, Fuko Seiko, Ouyang Qingxiang, and the others' faces became serious, as if they were facing a formidable enemy. The people from the Paragon Saint's faction stood at the side and waited silently. After a while, figures flew out from the depths of the inner sect area. The sect leader of the Kongshan school, Long Haoshan, had arrived. Some inner sect elders had also arrived. Now that most of the people have arrived, I announce that the sect grand competition has officially begun. Like the previous competitions, the outer sect disciples will compete on the stage. The higher the ranking, the better the rewards. Now, for the outer sect disciples who have signed up, I will draw lots to decide their opponents. An inner sect elder landed on the stage and announced the rules of the competition. Then he drew lots to start the competition. First, the outer sect disciples would fight, and the fierce battle began. However, Lu Ming was not very interested in the competition between the outer sect disciples. Moreover, there were not many experts who were worthy of his attention. For example, Emo, Feng Yuandao, Feng Luozi, and the others who were in the top 10 of the empty god list had already broken through to the true god realm and entered the inner sect. Currently, there were not many talents in the outer sect. However, many people were still watching the competition seriously, especially those who were from the 7 Holy Sons and Holy Daughters factions. They were looking for the geniuses in the outer sect who had not joined any faction so that they could invite them. The competition between the outer sect disciples lasted for half a month before it ended. Then it was the competition between the inner sect disciples. The competition between the inner sect disciples was the real highlight and attracted the attention of the audience. Of course, not all inner sect disciples were required to participate. The rules stated that only true gods could participate. Those who had reached the heavenly god realm did not need to participate because there were too few of them and they were too powerful. For the competition between the true gods, all the factions sent their true god realm experts. It was indeed exciting. Lu Ming was also dazzled by the competition. There were different races, different divine skills, and even different secret skills. They were all extraordinarily powerful. However, on the whole, it was still the Supreme Holy Sons faction that dominated the competition. In the end, all the factions sent out their top experts on the True God list. There were only a total of 100 people on the True God list. Divided among the Qintian 13 sects, there were less than 10 people in each sect. Moreover, the number of people on the True God list had always been dominated by the 3 overlords. In the Kongshan school, there were a total of 8 people on the True God list. These 8 people were all from the 7 Holy Sons and Holy Daughters factions. The other 6 Holy Sons and Holy Daughters each had 1 person, while the Supreme Holy Sons faction had 2 people. Boom, boom. In the fighting ring, the 2 top experts on the True God list were fighting fiercely, constantly colliding with each other. The experts on the True God list are indeed powerful. Lu Ming watched carefully and sighed in his heart. The fighting strength of the two people in the fighting ring was above Lu Zhong's. One should know that Lu Zhong had been at the peak of the True God realm for many years. He had cultivated several divine skills to the peak of the 4th stage and had mastered royal-grade divine power. His fighting strength was strong. However, both of them were stronger than Lu Zhong. The True God list listed the most powerful people in the True God realm, and it was not just for show. One of them was from the Tenho Seiko faction, while the other was from the Holy Sun Jixia's faction. The two of them exchanged a few hundred blows, and in the end, the expert from the Tenho Seiko faction won and defeated his opponent. The Tianhong Saint smiled, while the Holy Sun Jixia's face was gloomy. The competition continued, and it had reached the final stage. It was a clash between the experts on the True God list, and every match was very exciting. After a few more days, the competition finally ended. This time, it was still the Supreme Holy Sun's faction that won the first place. In particular, there was one person in the Supreme Holy Sun's faction who was extremely powerful. He was ranked 6th on the True God list. Most of the top 10 on the True God list were occupied by the 3 overlords. The fact that he was ranked 6th on the True God list showed how powerful he was. This person was the #1 expert in the True God realm in the Kongshen school. There was no doubt that the Supreme Holy Sun's faction would win the first place. Chapter 2790. The competition has ended. An N? See. After this battle, the prestige of the Paragon Saints faction naturally rose to a whole new level. No one could compare to them. The other saints and saintesses looked solemn. If this continued, the Paragon Saint would become the next sect leader. I must obtain that item. That way, I'll be able to contend against the Paragon Saint. The Tianhong Saint clenched his fists. Alright, I hereby announce the end of the sect tournament. The Kongshen School's sect leader Long Zhoushan's voice reverberated throughout the area. He paused for a moment before continuing, however, I have another big announcement to make today. There's another big announcement? Many people were taken aback and revealed curious expressions. Most of the inner elders were also curious. Obviously, they did not know what Long Zhoushan was going to announce. Today I am going to confer a new saint. Long Zhoushan's voice rang out. What? A new holy son? The saint is going to be conferred? This is a big deal. But there hasn't been anyone suitable recently. That's right. The only suitable candidate is the second-in-command of the Paragon Saints faction. Is he going to be independent? Long Zhoushan's words caused an uproar in the crowd. Everyone was guessing who the new saint would be. It was not easy to be promoted to a saint. First, one's cultivation had to be at the heavenly god realm. Moreover, the divine force that one could control had to be at least of the divine grade. Only by meeting these two conditions would one be qualified. Now, there was only one person who met these two conditions. That person was the second-in-command of the Paragon Saints faction. This person was also a peerless genius. Back then he had the chance to be conferred the title of saint. However, he gave up the title and sided with the Paragon Saint. This had caused a huge uproar back then. At the scene, the 7 saints and saintesses narrowed their eyes and frowned. There was going to be an 8th saint. The conferment of a saint was a big deal. It meant that they would be more competitive. Moreover, every new saint would have a huge impact on the current situation. Everyone was guessing who the Holy Son of Dragon Mountain would be. However, they were not confident. Then everyone looked at Long Zhoushan, waiting for his answer. Long Zhoushan stood high up in the air, his eyes scanned the surroundings and finally landed on Lu Ming. He shouted, "The Holy Prince that I want to confer the title of Holy Prince is him, Lu Ming." Long Zhoushan pointed at Lu Ming. Everyone's eyes turned to Lu Ming. Then the scene fell into a dead silence. Lu Ming was also dumbfounded. Never in his wildest dreams would he have thought that the new Holy Son of Dragon Mountain would be him. Originally he was just like everyone else, curious to know who this newly conferred Holy Son was. He didn't expect it to be him. For a moment he couldn't wrap his head around it. Lu Ming, this is the mission I'm giving you. You must accept the position of Holy Son. Lu Ming heard the voice of Long Zhoushan. What the hell is this old man doing? Lu Ming finally calmed down, his mind racing. He didn't think that Long Zhoushan had good intentions. This old man had cast the Nether Dragon blood curse in his body. He definitely didn't have good intentions. Lu Ming, you've become a holy son. Awesome. Awesome, brother. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng were also dumbfounded. They couldn't come to their senses for a long time. It's him. The holy son that the sect master wants to confer is him? Everyone stared at Lu Ming dumbfounded. The point is, who is he? That's right. I've never seen him before. Many people exclaimed. After all, Lu Ming had only joined the Kongxian school for a few decades. Many people had been in seclusion for hundreds or thousands of years. Most people had never seen Lu Ming before. It's him. I know him. He just joined the school a few decades ago. What? He was conferred the Holy Sun when he just joined the school a few decades ago? You must be kidding. Shall lower your voice. Be careful not to let the sect master hear you. But this lad, how is he qualified to be a Holy Sun? There was an uproar at the scene. Lu Ming, who had just joined the school a few decades ago, was actually conferred the title of Holy Sun. What was going on? It's this lad. The Tianhong Holy Sun, Fuko Seiko, and the rest looked at Lu Ming like swords. Sect master, I don't think this is appropriate. At this moment, an elder walked out and cupped his fists at Long Haoshan. What's wrong? Long Haoshan said lightly. Lu Ming has just joined the school a few decades ago. His current cultivation level has only broken through to the true God realm not long ago. No matter how you look at it, he's not qualified to be conferred the title of Holy Sun. The elder said. This elder was an inner sect elder and Ing Tsang's master. He belonged to the Tenho Seiko faction. Ing Tsang, who was ranked 4th on the empty god list, had been secretly taken in as a disciple by this elder. Later on he was killed by Lu Ming in the Nether Dragon secret territory. Ing Tsang had always hated Lu Ming. Since Long Haoshan wanted to confer the title of Holy Sun to Lu Ming, he naturally had to step out to oppose it. That's right, sect master. This must not be done. Following that, a few other inner sect elders stepped out to oppose it. Obviously, these inner sect elders belonged to the various factions of the Holy Sons and Holy Daughters. Are you doubting me? Long Haoshan said lightly, but there was a terrifying majesty in his voice. A few inner sect elders jumped in fright and hurriedly said, We're not doubting you, sect master. It's just that the conferment of a Holy Sun is a big matter. Sect master, you must consider it carefully. That's right, sect master. The Holy Sons and Holy Daughters are all peerless geniuses. Not everyone is suitable and qualified. The Tianhong Holy Sun stepped out and bowed to Long Haoshan. Tianhong is right. To be a Holy Sun, one must first fulfill 2 conditions. First, one must possess holy divine power. Second, one must be a heavenly god. This Lu Ming is only a true god. How can he be qualified to be a Holy Sun? Sect master, please retract your decision. Fuko Seiko stepped out and cupped her fists. Long Haoshan furrowed his brows. The Kongxian school's Holy Sons and Holy Daughters had a higher status than the inner sect elders. The Holy Sons and Holy Daughters were all peerless geniuses. If there were no accidents, they would enter the God King realm in the future and become the overlord of a region. Their words carried more weight than the inner sect elders. Following that, the Holy Son of Jixia, the Holy Son of Yen Kong, and the Holy Daughter of Xuetan all spoke up to persuade Long Haoshan to retract his decision. Among the 7 Holy Sons and Holy Daughters, only 2 of them remained silent. One of them was the Paragon Holy Sun. He only looked at Lu Ming curiously. Light flashed in his eyes, but he did not say anything. As for Ouyang Qingxiang, she naturally would not say anything. She and Lu Ming were partners. If Lu Ming could become a Holy Sun, it would be of great help to her. She even hoped that Lu Ming would become a Holy Sun. Chapter 2791. Lu Ming watched quietly, not saying a word. He was pondering over Long Zhoushan's motive. Was Long Zhoushan trying to push him to the heart of the struggle, giving him pressure so that he could improve faster and do things for him? Lu Ming felt that this was the most likely reason. Are you all doubting this seat's foresight? Long Zhoushan said indifferently, his voice cold. Big Sky's Holy Sun, Fuko Seiko, and the rest did not say anything, but their expressions said it all. They objected. Alright, since that's the case, this seat will give you all a chance. Long Zhoushan's gaze turned sharp as he said, all of you can send out True God Realm experts to challenge Lu Ming. If any of you can defeat Lu Ming, this seat will retract my order and cancel the conferment. If no True God Realm expert can defeat Lu Ming, then Lu Ming will become the new Holy Prince. Do you all have any objections? Long Zhoushan's words shocked many people. All of the True God Realm experts from the various factions could challenge Lu Ming. If they won, Lu Ming would not be able to become the Holy Prince. What is this Lu Ming's cultivation? Someone quickly asked. I saw it, he's a third-stage true god realm expert. Someone spoke. Those with higher cultivation than Lu Ming could see Lu Ming's cultivation with a single glance. What, a third-stage true god realm expert? His cultivation is so low, any true god realm expert can defeat him. Yes, strange, why did the sect leader raise such a condition? This Lu Ming definitely won't be able to win. Strange. Many people were puzzled. Long Zhoushan seemed to want to confer the title of Holy Prince to Lu Ming, but raising such a condition meant that he didn't want Lu Ming to be the Holy Prince. No one thought that a third-stage True God Realm expert could defeat the True God Realm experts from the 7 factions. What a joke! A third-stage True God Realm expert was just a low-level True God Realm expert. How could he compete with the mid-level and high-level True Gods? Especially the experts from the 7 factions. Those existences could pinch Lu Ming to death with one finger. There was no comparison at all. The Big Sky's Holy Sun, Fuko Seiko, and the others' eyes lit up. Although they knew that Lu Ming's combat power was strong, there was a limit to his combat power. It was impossible for him to be a match for those high-level real gods. In their eyes, Long Zhoushan was giving them a way out. Zhoushan's suggestion. Me too. The Great Sky Hong Saint Sun and the Floating Light Saint Sun immediately expressed their stance. Following that, the other saints and saintesses agreed one after another. Long Haoshan's gaze landed on Lu Ming. Lu Ming said loudly. Since it had come to this point, it was obvious that Long Zhoushan wanted him to accept the Holy Sun's position. Lu Ming wasn't someone who was afraid of trouble. Nestle, this guy really dares to accept the challenge. He's not afraid of death. Even if he doesn't die, he'll be tortured. There's a good show to watch. Many people sneered, waiting to watch a good show. Lu Ming, do your best. I hope you can be promoted to the Holy Sun position. Yu Linglong waved her fist and cheered for Lu Ming. Brother Lu, you can do it. Wu Zifeng also patted Lu Ming's shoulder. Previously, they had seen Lu Ming suppress Ouyang Qingxiang's 2 subordinates. His combat power was extremely strong. If Lu Ming were to strike, he might have a chance of winning. Sect leader, can we fight to the death? The Big Sky's Holy Sun asked, his eyes filled with cold, killing intent. Since you want to fight, let's fight to the death. Long Zhoushan said. Regardless of life or death, it meant that they could kill. This kid is finished. Many people showed pity, thinking that Lu Ming was dead meat. I'll fight with this kid. A voice sounded. A young man from Fuko Seiko's faction stepped down and landed on the fighting stage. It's Huang Wen. Huang Wen is going to fight. Someone shouted. That's right. That person was Huang Wen. Huang Wen is at the 8th level True God realm. Dealing with a mere 3rd level True God, the moment they take action, it's an 8th level True God. This is making a mountain out of a molehill. He's making a mountain out of a molehill. However, I heard that Huang Wen has a grudge against Lu Ming. That's why he's fighting. I see. He's going to seize the opportunity to kill Lu Ming. Many people discussed. Brother, kill him. Kill him for me. Ah. Huang Wu, who was in the crowd, roared in his heart. He could already see the scene of Huang Wen killing Lu Ming. Boom. Huang Wen landed on the fighting stage and exuded a powerful aura that pressed down on Lu Ming. Kid, how do you want to die? Say it. Huang Wen's cold voice sounded. He was confident in himself. He was also a genius and his cultivation had reached level 8 True God. Dealing with a level 3 True God was a piece of cake. Unfortunately, he didn't know that 2 geniuses from Fuko Seiko's faction had already died in Lu Ming's hands. He also didn't know that Li Zhong had also died in Lu Ming's hands. They only knew that Lu Ming had gone out and returned safely. They didn't know that those geniuses had already been killed by Lu Ming. They only thought that those geniuses couldn't find Lu Ming. If Huang Wen knew that those geniuses had already been killed by Lu Ming, he wouldn't be so confident. You talk too much nonsense. Make your move. I'll give you the last chance. Lu Ming said indifferently. Boasting shamelessly. Surging wave fist. Huang Wen shouted coldly and threw a punch at Lu Ming. Rumbling sounds came from the sky when the punch was thrown. It was like 10,000 layers of giant waves that surged toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's face was calm. He condensed a long spear with divine force in his palm. Five divine flames burned fiercely and boundless divine force gathered in the long spear. He swept the spear out. Rumble. A huge spear intent was fired into the sky, colliding with Huang Wen's 10,000 layered fists, resulting in a shocking explosion. Then Huang Wen's fist force trembled and was crushed by the spear light. Huang Wen's face changed drastically and he retreated to the edge of the fighting stage before stopping. This. Many people were dumbfounded as if they had seen a ghost. This situation was completely different from what they had expected. They expected Huang Wen to crush Lu Ming, but they didn't expect Lu Ming to push Huang Wen back with a single spear. How could a level 3 true god be so strong? Damn it! Huang Wen roared in his heart and his face turned gloomy. Lu Ming's combat strength had also exceeded his expectations. That's all you've got? If you have any divine skills that you haven't used, use them quickly. This is your last chance. Lu Ming said indifferently with a look of disdain. You're courting death. I'll let you see my true strength. Surging wave sword art. Huang Wen roared and took out a battle sword. He exploded with all his strength and charged toward Lu Ming. With a slash, 10,000 layers of sword waves appeared in the void and surged toward Lu Ming. This was Huang Wen's trump card and it was extremely powerful. If he used it with his strength, an ordinary level 9 true god would be killed by him. Chapter 2792. Third Strike of Annihilation, Sky Piercer. Lu Ming doubled his combat strength and used the first move of the Third Strike of Annihilation, Sky Piercer. A dazzling spear radiance shot up to the sky. Bang, bang, bang. The 10,000 saber waves that Huang Wen sent out crumbled one after another. Finally, the spear radiance rushed past Huang Wen and clashed with him. In the next moment, all the energy fluctuations disappeared. The long spear in Lu Ming's hand also disappeared. Lu Ming landed on the fighting stage expressionlessly. As for Huang Wen, his eyes were wide open and his face was filled with disbelief. There was a bloody hole in between his eyebrows. The light in his eyes quickly disappeared and so did his life aura. Plop. Huang Wen fell on the fighting stage, no longer showing any signs of life. Huang Wen was dead. Most of the people at the scene were dumbfounded. Huang Wen was killed by Lu Ming. This was out of everyone's expectations. A 3rd level true god had killed an 8th level true god genius. This was too exaggerated. Demon. Turns out that Lu Ming is a demon. He's too abnormal. No wonder the sect master conferred him the title of Holy Sun. His combat strength is so terrifying. Many people mumbled to themselves. They finally knew why Dragon Zhoushan had conferred Lu Ming the title of Holy Sun. Lu Ming was a freak. Without a doubt, the divine power that he controlled was definitely above the sacred grade. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to be so powerful. When he became a heaven god and the son of saint, it would be a sure thing. Damn it. Fuko Seiko's eyes were cold. Huang Wen's death meant that he had lost one of his generals. Big brother? Huang Wu screamed in the crowd. His face was as pale as snow, and his face was filled with fear. When he was in the Kongshen school's outer area, he could get whatever he wanted because of his big brother, Huang Wen. Now that Huang Wen was dead, who could he rely on in the future? He knew that he would have a hard time in the future. Clean up the fighting stage. Dragon Zhoushan ordered. Immediately, someone went down and took away Huang Wen's body. Who else wants to fight? Lu Ming looked at the people of the 7 factions. Amoing, go and kill him. The Tianhong saint instructed a youth behind him. This brat won't live. Lung Ku, a black-robed youth behind the Tianhong divine son, stepped down and landed on the fighting ring. It's him, Demon Shadow. The Tianhong saint sent this person directly. Looks like he's determined to win. Many people were slightly surprised. In the sect competition previously, Mo Ying had displayed shocking power. Although he was not as good as the top experts on the real god ranking list, he was not too far off. Mo Ying's cultivation was level 9 true god. Brat, your strength is indeed strong. Being able to kill Huang Wen at the 3rd level of true god realm has indeed surprised me. However, your life ends here. Mo Ying said coldly. Huang Wen said the same thing before and then he died. Lu Ming simply retorted, causing Demon Shadow's complexion to sink. Don't compare me with that trash. Kill. Mo Ying shouted and charged toward Lu Ming. However, when he was halfway there, he suddenly disappeared. Speed-type divine skill? No, this is a secret skill. Lu Ming's gaze flickered. A long spear appeared in his hand and swept in all directions. The spear radiance crushed through, but did not find any trace of Mo Ying. Swoosh. Suddenly, a sharp whistling sound came from behind Lu Ming. Mo Ying had launched an attack on him. Unknowingly, Mo Ying had already arrived behind Lu Ming. Get lost. Lu Ming shouted and his divine power gushed out like waves. With a wave of his hand, dozens of spear radiances pierced in all directions. Dang. In one of the directions an explosion rang out and a figure was sent flying. It's useless. Die. Mo Ying's figure flickered continuously. In an instant hundreds of figures appeared on the fighting ring and circled around Lu Ming. From time to time, a figure rushed toward Lu Ming, but they were all repelled by Lu Ming. You don't seem to be able to defeat me. Lu Ming sneered. Is that so? Suddenly, the hundreds of figures stopped at the same time and gathered into one. My arrangement is complete. Lu Ming, go to hell. Demon God Ghost Curse. Mo Ying shouted coldly. His body emitted a thick black aura. His hands were constantly forming seals. In the next moment, a burst of energy suddenly erupted from Lu Ming's body. This energy was extremely evil. No one knew when it had rushed into Lu Ming's body. Now that it had erupted, it formed many black and ferocious ghosts. They roared in Lu Ming's body, wanting to devour Lu Ming's flesh and blood. Mo Ying has planted a demon god ghost curse. This kid is dead for sure. The Tianhong saint sneered. Fuko Seiko, the Jixia saint, and the others watched coldly. Lu Ming. Yu Linglong and Wu Zifeng couldn't help but worry. Aha, Lu Ming, go to hell. Mo Ying laughed maniacally. Almost no one in the true god realm could break the demon god ghost curse that he had planted. Even the experts on the true god ranking wouldn't be able to do anything about it. Was it planted when we clashed? Lu Ming muttered. Previously, Lu Ming had continuously clashed with the demon god. Every time they clashed, Lu Ming felt a weak energy rush into his body. Because that energy wasn't strong, Lu Ming didn't pay much attention to it. Now that he thought about it, it must have been some demon god ghost curse. This demon god ghost curse was similar to the nether dragon blood curse in the Dragon Mountain. However, its power was worlds apart. Sovereign. With a thought, Lu Ming unleashed his sovereign divine power and enveloped the demon god ghost curse. Sizzle. After being enveloped by the sovereign divine power, the demon god ghost shadows were like ice in front of fire. They immediately sizzled and quickly dissipated. How is this possible? How can you break my demon god ghost curse? Mo Ying suddenly yelled in disbelief. You're embarrassing yourself with such petty tricks. Lu Ming said indifferently. His body flickered as he executed the Nine Heavens rock art and charged at Mo Ying. Even if you break my demon god ghost curse, you can't kill me. Mo Ying roared, his eyes filled with malevolence. He turned into shadows and filled the fighting stage. Is that so? Lu Ming's figure suddenly landed on the fighting ring. A gust of extremely cold divine power spread out from his feet. In an instant, it covered the entire fighting ring and sealed it in ice. In an instant, the fighting stage turned into a world of ice. Mo Ying's body stiffened. His feet were sealed in ice. The hundreds of shadows on the fighting stage also disappeared. This is absolute frost divine power. How did this kid cultivate absolute frost divine power? Has he already cultivated the absolute frost divine art to its peak? But he only joined the sect a few decades ago. Many of the inner elders were shocked. The divine power that Lu Ming used earlier wasn't absolute frost divine power. Could it be that Lu Ming cultivated some kind of secret technique that concealed the divine power's attribute? Even so, how could Lu Ming cultivate absolute frost divine power in just a few decades? Chapter 2793. Could it be? Many people looked at Longhaushen and wondered what was the relationship between Lu Ming and Longhaushen. Could it be that Longhaushen had already taught Lu Ming the frost divine art? Otherwise they wouldn't believe that Lu Ming could reach the peak of the frost divine art in just a few decades. There were also people in Kangxian school who had reached the peak of the frost divine art and successfully cultivated the frost divine power. However, it required great talent and a long time. What they didn't know was that Longhaushen was also shocked. This brat can actually control the frost divine power. Longhaushen was shocked. He knew that Lu Ming controlled the divine power of the sovereign realm. Now he could actually use the frost divine power. Great. The stronger this brat is, the more likely it is to succeed. Longhaushen's eyes lit up. On the battle stage, Mo Ying was terrified. He tried his best to break free from the ice that had sealed him. However, Lu Ming wouldn't give him such a chance. Lu Ming moved and appeared in front of the demonic shadow. His cold gaze made the demonic shadow shudder and break out in a cold sweat. I admit defeat. I admit defeat. Imo shouted crazily. Did I allow you to admit defeat? Lu Ming said indifferently. He stabbed out with his spear and killed Imo. CSI. Many people gasped in shock. Imo was dead. Huang Wen couldn't compare to Imo. He was very strong and it was obvious in the sect competition. However, he was still killed by Lu Ming. Lu Ming's strength was shocking. Lu Ming, you are courting death. At this moment, the great Hong Saint was furious. He released a terrifying aura towards Lu Ming. He didn't hide his cold killing intent. Great Hong, what are you trying to do? Ouyang Qingxiang also released her aura and blocked the great Hong Saint's aura. What am I trying to do? Didn't you see that Imo had already admitted defeat? He already admitted defeat, but this brat still killed him. How audacious. I'll kill him right now. The heavenly Hong Saint said angrily. Ah, what a joke. Before the battle started, they only said that regardless of life and death, they didn't say that they couldn't kill if they admitted defeat. Lu Ming said indifferently. You quibble? The Tianhong Saint was enraged and a terrifying killing intent erupted from his body. However, Lu Ming was right. Before the battle started, he had indeed only said that regardless of life or death, but he did not say that he could not kill as long as he admitted defeat. Done. At this moment, Long Haoshan waved his sleeves and said, Just now, I didn't say that you can't kill if you admit defeat. Now I'll say it. In the following battles, as long as you admit defeat, you must stop. Upon seeing that Long Haoshan had spoken, the great Sky Sage Sun was also helpless. He could only glare icily at Lu Ming. The murderous intent in his eyes intensified. Saint, let me kill this brat. Another youth stepped out from behind the Tianhong Saint. Seeing this youth, the great Sky Sage Sun nodded and said, All right, let's end this quickly. Don't give that brat a chance to admit defeat. Clearly, the great Sky Sage Sun was very confident in this youth. Don't worry, Saint. He won't have a chance to admit defeat. The youth said coldly. In a flash, he landed on the fighting ring. Shuiyu, it's Shuiyu. When the youth landed on the fighting ring, many people were shocked. This was because Shuiyu was an expert on the True God ranking board. He was one of the 8 experts from the Kongshen school who were ranked on the True God ranking board. He was also the strongest True God realm expert under the Tenho Seiko faction. Lu Ming is going to battle with Shuiyu. I wonder who will win. If Lu Ming can defeat Shuiyu, it will be a miracle for him to be ranked on the True God ranking board as a level 3 True God. That's right. Shuiyu is ranked 87th on the True God ranking board, but his combat strength is not something that Imo can compare to. Many people were looking forward to this battle. Many of them were already guessing the outcome of this battle. An expert on the True God ranking board? Come on. Lu Ming's eyes were filled with a strong desire to battle. Although he had seen the battle between the experts on the True God ranking board, watching and fighting were two different things. Swoosh. Suddenly Shuiyu moved. However, he did not charge toward Lu Ming. Instead, he soared into the sky. In midair, Shuiyu's body emitted a crimson light. Shuiyu barrier. Shuiyu roared. With a push of his hands, a layer of crimson light shrouded the entire fighting ring. Shuiyu barrier was a secret skill that Shuiyu had cultivated. It was extremely powerful. As soon as he attacked, he used his unique skill and did not give Lu Ming a chance to fight back. Kill. Shuiyu shouted. In the Shuiyu barrier, boundless crimson sword light suddenly appeared and slashed toward Lu Ming. What can a barrier do to me? Kill. Lu Ming roared and activated the 9-layered crimson gold armor. He performed the 9 heavens rock technique and soared into the sky. Streaks of spear light burst out from his hands. Boom, boom, boom. The spear light and crimson sword light collided with each other constantly, erupting into earth-shattering roars. Why is my divine power being depleted so severely? Suddenly Lu Ming frowned. He could feel his divine power depleting rapidly. He was using the same move, but his divine power was depleting at a much faster rate than before. Haha, do you feel that your divine power is being depleted rapidly? Under the suppression of my barrier, your divine power will be depleted in a few moves and you will be at my mercy. Shuiyu laughed complacently. Then, more crimson sword light appeared and attacked Lu Ming. Is that so? Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. Want to deplete his divine power? You must be kidding. If it were others who were trapped in the Shuiyu barrier, they would be doomed. Their divine power would be depleted quickly. However, Lu Ming had the quantifying character formula. Boom. Divine power constantly emerged from the quantifying character formula. Lu Ming's divine power was always at its peak. Third strike of extinction, moon slashing. Lu Ming used the second move of the third strike of extinction. The long spear slashed down, and a crescent-shaped spear light violently slashed out. Countless crimson sword lights were directly extinguished. The terrifying crescent-shaped spear light slashed toward Xueyu. Xueyu's face changed. His figure flashed and appeared on the other side of the battle stage, avoiding Lu Ming's attack. In the Xueyu barrier, his speed was extremely fast. Such a strong attack, I want to see how many moves you can make. Xueyu snorted coldly. Is that so? Let me break your barrier first. Lu Ming's figure soared into the sky and blasted toward the barrier. Blood God Python kill? Xueyu yelled. Many blood-red pythons appeared in the boundary. There were more than a dozen of them. Each of them was a few hundred meters long and they charged toward Lu Ming. Moon slashing. Lu Ming continued to use the moon slashing technique and destroyed a blood-colored python with one move. However, there were more than 10 blood-colored pythons. Haha, your divine power will be depleted soon. Xueyu laughed. Lu Ming was too lazy to pay attention to Xueyu and continued to attack. That you're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.